on series? How would that go?
Oh, boy. Well, when Wendell is saying that, I'm smiling because that's kind of our day. I mean, there'd be a lot more kind of fun stories because there weren't, when you traveled in the States back then, I'm talking the 80s and maybe the early 90s, that nobody really knew who they were. They go, boy, these are just some good-looking guys wearing suits, right? They just sort of say athletic-looking. And, and then I just remember when the collectors were there at 3 a.m. when you, in New Jersey at a nondescript hotel, all of a sudden that side of it came into play. But like you know it now, being a father and that, just the thing about social media, whatever your worst moment is, that's going to be at your job interview forever, okay? So all I can say is a lot of Wendell's teammates, he was pretty good, would never get jobs. Well, that's all I can say. if that was it, but had a lot of fun. But yeah, it was a different time.
That's a good thing. Wendell Clark hasn't had to worry about the 9 to 5. That's I'm pretty jealous, actually. Okay, let's take a break. We got a lot of Leafs topics to discuss. An extended pregame show beyond the 7 o'clock hour because puck drop will be around 7:20. So we'll lead you up to the Maple Leafs and Habs on opening night in the NHL. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Craig. Craig likes it warm. Craig loves 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Craig doesn't understand Fahrenheit. But Craig does like to save money when he's at work. Craig also cares about his carbon footprint. He's so thoughtful, that Craig.
With SmartFlow from Enbridge Sustain, you won't have to think about your HVAC, but it will always be thinking of you. For a limited time, sign up and get up to $1,000 in bill credits and apply for up to $3,000 in rebates. Learn more at EnbridgeSustainSmartFlow.com. Terms and conditions apply.
As fall approaches and birds head south, a different kind of bird emerges, the Subaru. While migratory flocks seek warmth, Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive keeps drivers soaring through the wild. During the migrating season, Subaru's hunger for adventure grows exponentially, driving the intrigued radio listeners to fall for Subaru at their local Subaru dealerships, experiencing an adventure of their own. So migrate to your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
Here I come! Sportsnet, your ultimate hockey destination. They score! With more matchups than anywhere else, including Scotiabank Wednesday Night Hockey and Hockey Night in Canada.
Wild action!
With in-depth analysis on Hockey Central, plus live stream games even on the go with the Sportsnet app.
What a move! Unbelievable!
Dive into the action with Sportsnet. Here for hockey. Here I come!
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need, when you need it, 24/7, 365, every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
All right, welcome back into Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. It's the Leafs and Habs from Bell Center tonight to kick off another season, an important season. They're all important for the Maple Leafs, who are, that young core suddenly getting on with it, like approaching 10 years. And of course, without the playoff success that this market and this fan base is waiting for, but renewed optimism, Gord, with Craig Berube at the helm. Of course, he won a Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues in 2019. He's an accomplished player. He's an accomplished coach. And it's funny because you talk about the change and it's like, well, this is what Sheldon Keefe wasn't doing. Sheldon Keefe is a very talented coach. He's going to have a lot of success, I bet, with the New Jersey Devils. But there comes a time where you just need things to run differently in order to get different results. And with Craig Berube, it feels like things are going to run a little bit differently. Where do you see the biggest positive from going to Sheldon Keefe to Craig Berube?
And I'm glad you said what you did about Sheldon Keefe, because one word is, now, Berube would never admit it, I don't know if it's true, but he really wanted the New Jersey job, and they wanted Sheldon Keefe, because he kind of worries him about the pressure here, whatever it may be. But just anyway, and what I liked about Sheldon Keefe...
It's a preview for tomorrow night.
Yeah, he was that's right. He was the first person I heard to be accountable that they didn't get the job done. So he said, I'm paying the price. We didn't do the job in the playoffs. In so many years, we got an off season about, oh my God, all the poor social commentary. No, you did not get the job done. So whatever the difference is to get the job done, and it starts with any player, Austin Matthews, whomever, they've not had a playoff that's been Conn Smythe Trophy worthy. So if that, that little bit, whatever, being the captain, does that change things? And Craig Berube, having been to the day, it's not like St. Louis went deep in the playoffs every year, but they did win a cup, and he does have playoff experience, playoff winning experience. And if that makes just a little bit of difference, that's huge, because the Leafs last year I was very encouraged how they played against Boston. They still can't score goals in the playoffs, but I was encouraged how they battled in the 7 games compared to how they went out in 5 games against the Florida Panthers, the Columbus series, the Montreal series, yada, yada, yada. So I just think that I think that was the one positive. It's an understanding now. This doesn't cut it anymore. We're getting long in the tooth here together, and we got a new sheriff in town, and I thought Pat Burns was a great comparable that Wendell Clark brought up. Just about, it's not an indictment at all about Sheldon Keefe. That's going to be a hell of a team in New Jersey. Yep. But just about whatever the it factor is that they didn't do, that, okay, they got a guy that's going to go about it a little bit differently to get that margin of difference.
Now, the roster, maybe problematically, is not that much materially different. Yeah, they're new faces. Max Pacioretty coming in, Chris Tanev, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, maybe Yanni Hakanpää has a big impact on this team. There are guys who probably better fit the mold that Treliving and Berube want, or at least they envision. But it's still the same group. It's the same cast of characters, a lot of same. You mentioned that Sheldon Keefe was the only one who was accountable. Accountability perhaps still lacking, but Craig Berube, if there's something on his resume, it's like, yeah, I provide and can create an accountable environment. Do you believe that the DNA can be changed?
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, it can be changed. Like, I mean, it's not like Sheldon Keefe didn't try to do it, but I just believe whether it's a different voice there, whether it's a little bit of different style about how things go, just that it can be a factor. It's funny because we're talking about maybe less scoring to play more team-oriented hockey during the regular season. But again, I go back, 6 of the 7 games, they didn't get more than 2 goals last year. Same with the playoff the year before, the last 7 games. And that's been their strength, is scoring goals. And that's what's eluded them in the playoffs. So obviously understand, they're tougher to get in the playoffs, goals. So they got to figure out a way that, okay, it's fun in regular season, but how to make that happen more in the playoffs. So, Justin, I do believe that those kind of little things. Mark Savard, I'm biased because he worked here. He did our job for a couple of years. I really got to enjoy him and really appreciate what a student of the game he was, whether it's special teams and also he won in Boston. Like, you got some guys who won. Berube's won, Savvy's won, and just even you bring Steve Lawrence in and those players that have understood what it takes to go all the way. And I always think those pieces add incrementally.
I guess the only thing that bothers me on the accountability piece is the slight hypocrisy that is maybe not a full meritocracy in terms of preseason play and who deserved to be in the opening lineup. We will do the lines on the other side, but Bobby McMahon on the outside looking in, maybe he wasn't Nick Robertson level in terms of impact during the preseason, but it seemed like, hey, we want to build a competition at camp, but really there's no competition because Max Pacioretty and Steven Lorentz will be on this team. Did anything bother you about the lineup decisions and the final decisions made while putting this roster together?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, Timothy Liljegren's obviously, that's
the big one.
We had Rasmus Sandin traded to Washington. I mean, can a defenseman be developed from within since Morgan Rielly? They've developed so many forwards from within. I don't mean just the big guys either. I mean, just, look at Matthew Nyes. I know it's only been a couple of years, but another guy that looks like he's going to be a NHL regular and fit up front. So that's a discouraging part if you're a Leaf fan. And, he makes too much money to be a number 7 defenseman right now. And he wasn't Sheldon Keefe's favorite. He's obviously not Craig Berube's favorite right now. Another chance. He's had a lot of chances, but we'll see where it gives. And as far as the forwards went, Justin, that when you bring, Bobby McMahon, they know what he can do. He'll be a part of it. There will be injuries. I mean, it was really, he's a pleasant surprise last year that when he got a chance, he seized it. And right now, though, with Pacioretty, Lawrence, and also the way Robertson played, you don't want to sign those guys. I know Nick Robertson was here last year, and then all of a sudden have him in the press box.
Yep.
Like, it's kind of like the exhibition games. What are they? It's haves against have-nots almost every game, right? One team's a have, one team's got a weak lineup. So it's a little bit their exhibition game, their exhibition season continues early into the regular season. We saw it with Nick Ritchie a couple of years ago. Didn't happen, right? Michael Bunting did. So we'll see what happens, but you got to give them a chance to play. They can't be like playing one of the first 5 games.
What's your big takeaway from Nick Robertson's preseason? Obviously, a lot of prelude going into it with the trade request and what went into the previous seasons, his inability to break through, but also him believing that he wasn't getting a completely fair shake. He obviously was the standout of the preseason, scoring 5 consecutive goals and making it kind of undeniable that he at least had to start here. You think this marriage can work now that it kind of hit rock bottom over the summer?
Yeah, I do. And sometimes rock bottom, so look at Boston. It had to hit rock bottom with Jeremy Swayman and Cam Neely, about that before they got it done. So I think that, unlike Timothy Liljegren, I like what I've seen about Nick Robertson. And, he played over 50 games last year. He got, in the high teens in goals. So I like that he sees the moment. Showed them he's the one guy that needed to show something in exhibition season. I like that they decide, you know what, Easton Cowan, we're not even going to take a run with you. I know you're highly touted. Go back to junior. So yeah, Nick, I think he's really going to thrive. Whether it's a coaching change, I think it's time. He was kind of the Joe Woll, unfortunately, getting hurt too often, Nick Robertson, and that hasn't been a problem. So let's hope he's healthy, and I think he's going to kick butt.
Yeah, and it seems entirely up to him. Obviously, there's a different standard when you're playing for Craig Berube, and again, not a slight at Sheldon Keefe. It's just that's what Craig Berube prioritizes. Maybe he would be weaponized more in a Keefe world or under another regime, but you have to be defensively minded if you're going to play for Craig Berube. And in addition to the goal scoring, he was great defensively. In fact, many of those goals were the result of a defensive play that he made in order to cause a turnover and gain possession for the Maple Leafs. So Robertson has definitely answered the bell early and maybe put himself in a position where at least he's going to get some run over some guys who we expected to be in this lineup right away. On the Timothy Liljegren front, yeah, I mean, he seems like the one guy who doesn't fit the Berube mold, if we're being honest. And he does make too much money to be sitting on the sidelines for too long. Obviously, we just saw a cap crunch. There's going to be another cap crunch. Maybe he's the most obvious trade candidate. And frankly, I think there will be a market for Timothy Liljegren at some point because he is a talented defenseman and he's probably worth taking a gamble on. So we will see what happens over the course of the next couple of weeks, but we know what to expect tonight. We will break down the lineup decisions. We will break down some more key storylines in advance of this NHL season for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Leafs and Habs, Bell Center. It's going to be an incredible one. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
SiriusXM presents a brand new exclusive show with former UN ambassador, governor, and presidential candidate Nikki Haley on Nikki Haley Live.
Join me on Nikki Haley Live, a show where we talk about facts, policies that affect your family, stories from the campaign trail, the upcoming election, and maybe a bit about music and sports along the way. Tune in to Nikki Haley Live.
Nikki Haley Live, Wednesdays at 8 a.m. East on Triumph, Channel 111, and on the SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
This is the NHL. These are pros. You don't want guys to put good power play units on, don't take penalties. You don't want good power play units to score goals when you've given up a whole bunch, kill them. You don't like it, do something about it. If you want to reward your guys who had a good game with a chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team. Don't worry about mine.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. NHL Morning Skate.
The LA Kings just been a funny animal about their goaltending. I mean, Jonathan Quick for so many years, and then flashes in the pan that quickly dissipate. And Vegas is a great example. They won with Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill. And that was good enough goaltending to win a Stanley Cup, and that, at a minimum, is what the Los Angeles Kings need to do.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. On and off the ice.
Steven Stamkos. You wonder, is that it for him with the Tampa Bay Lightning? He's the guy that's probably, with Marty St. Louis and Vinny LeCavalier, recognized as the all-time greatest Tampa Bay Lightning players. This is all about deciding whether or not the price is going to be right to keep your captain around and potentially keep him a Tampa Bay Lightning member for his entire career.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app.
No one keeps you closer to U.S. soccer than SiriusXM FC.
We're now joined by U.S. men's national team head coach Mauricio Pochettino.
The country is about to compete, to win, and to give everything. What we need to translate to the fans, we need to be protagonists, we need to be aggressive team, an entertainment team, because we are USA and the culture is about to win.
Hear more from Mauricio Pochettino on the SiriusXM app. Just search FC.
This is Molson Leafs Hockey. We're about to bring the war right now. Sound the alarm! On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network. There's a Molson with your name on it.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Justin Cuthbert and Gord Stellick ahead of the Toronto Maple Leafs visiting the Montreal Canadiens. Game 1 of 82 to start a new season. It's always a special time, Gord, when we start a new NHL season. You know, hope, all those things. Yeah. But with this Maple Leafs team, it's different now because there's a new coach. There's a different attitude. It is truly a new era. And we're excited all season long for the Maple Leafs beginning tonight on Molson Leafs Hockey against the Montreal Canadiens.
Well, in game 1, too, we like to let the music play out, too, so we hear the whole tune. So we'll get used to it for the other 81 games. So a little special treat for all the listeners there. I always say that the best time of year is the start of the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's for 16 teams. The best time of the year, right now, 32 teams believe in whatever their best situation could be. They're all not saying they're going to make the playoffs. Montreal, they cannot make, if they don't make the playoffs, still not a disaster in any way, shape, or form. So it's a great way to start. It's the one time of the year everyone feels that way, feels that optimistic. And for the Toronto Maple Leafs in Montreal, an extra buzz. So many teams have new coaches. Like more teams have new coaches, I think, that have their existing coaches. So that's another element. And let's get it going. Enough exhibition stuff. Let's get the real stuff going. And right now, you'll start scrutinizing the early games too much. But by game 20, they're just going to keep coming, and you can't keep up to them. So right now, it's almost like an NFL game tonight, NFL playoff game. It's got that kind of hype.
Yeah, it definitely does. Opportunity here for the Maple Leafs, opportunity for the Montreal Canadiens, opportunity, though, for Anthony Stolarz. The big news of the day, Joseph Woll first will not start, may be available tomorrow, but no, that's not happening. Joseph Woll eventually placed on IR, so we'll miss the first week of the season. But again, Anthony Stolarz was one of the stories of the preseason. He's got the setup, he's got the size, he had the stats from the preseason. Does he have what it takes to be the guy for the Maple Leafs this year?
Well, Justin, you've seen a number of cases where somebody does everything they're asked of, but when they are the guy, then there's too much pressure. Like they're great when they're the 1B or when they're number 2, and that's really been most of his career. So that's what remains to be seen. I mean, to make the NHL, you got to be pretty confident in your abilities. So I would think there's a great chance that he could be that guy. I mean, last year, he kind of got dwarfed by Sergei Bobrovsky and others in Florida. He statistically was their best goaltender. Statistically, he was one of the best goaltenders in the NHL last season, and that's a reason the Leafs got him, feeling he's an upgrade on Samsonov and others. Didn't really expect him to be the number one guy right in game number 1. Have to take and run with it, but let's see what he can do as far as it goes. I think Leafs have confidence in him. He showed it last year, and let's see it play out.
While we have you, Gord, I think we need to get two things from you. One being a reason for optimism, one being a reason for pessimism. Because we're optimistic guys, we will start with the optimism. When you look at this Maple Leafs team that, again, added what could be three really important pieces on the back end, namely Chris Tanev, who's going to anchor the top line, and a couple pieces, namely in the bottom six, at least in terms of the forward groupings. And of course, a new goaltender in Anthony Stolarz. You're looking at this group, you're looking at what's ahead, you're looking at everything that went into an offseason and starting fresh with a new head coach. You look at the entire ecosystem, Gord. What gives you the most hope for this year for the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Okay, the optimism's been the same the last few years. They're simply too talented. And there's been some really entertaining regular season games. And I remember doing it when they came dead last, and the only 20-goal scorer was P.A. Parento the last weekend of the season, okay? And then you got Matthews, Marner came up, and they've kicked butt ever since. And so it's just a really skilled, exciting, entertaining team. You know, the regular seasons, we've really got full value by and large. So that's the positive thing. Like, I think they should try to go kick butt and come in first place. Don't play Boston in the first round or a team like that. Like, get the Islanders or Washington. Come in first, okay? Don't come second, third. Come in first place. So that's the positive. The negative is almost the same thing in that they've had this group, and in some ways, they missed their best opportunity, like when they were making less money, when you had Zach Hyman, when you could, when you had those complementary players at that level. Now, maybe Max Domi can be that. Boy, he did a hell of a job in the playoffs last year. So that's been the one thing that each year as the cap's gone up, it's really diminished your ability to have a better supporting cast. And that's always the worry about getting bang for your buck with those secondary players. So the Florida Panthers pieced it together quite well. But now they're challenged. They had let a lot of players go, and they've been able to keep some. They signed Verhaeghe yesterday, for example,
and looked pretty mighty yesterday as well.
Oh, he did. So, like, the 82 games, I don't worry as a Maple Leaf fan about making the playoffs. Maybe I should. Maybe I should go back to when I worked for the team, and you're really worried about making the playoffs or not. But like I said, it's funny. So I'm sort of doing a two-edged coin on both those things.
I think that the thing that bothers me the worst, and I'll be the pessimist here, is that it doesn't look all that different. And I'll give you the lines for Game 1 in Montreal as Montreal continues to celebrate its history before puck drop at Bell Center. Top line is Matthew Nyes, Austin Matthews, and Mitch Marner. The second line, Max Domi, John Tavares, William Nylander. Third, one newcomer in Max Pacioretty playing with Pontus Holmberg and Nick Robertson. And then on the fourth line, we're having Stephen Lawrence, David Camp, and Ryan Reeves. Now, there could be a chance for things to look different, but when I look at this lineup, it is very much the same. Obviously, Matthews and Marner playing together with Matthews on the top line, or with Nyes on the top line, but something that has not changed is the dynamic between John Tavares and William Nylander. William Nylander, we're told he's going to play at center. He's not playing center. And the second line looks as it has. The third line with Pacioretty, Holmberg, and Robertson, well, that leaves, I think, a little bit of something to be desired. Maybe Max Pacioretty's great. Maybe Nick Robertson fills the net this year. Maybe Pontus Holmberg is a serviceable center. But it feels like, at least from an optimization standpoint, I'm still waiting to see it with the lineup.
So it's funny. I got to interview Brad Treliving last Friday. We asked him about Max Pacioretty, asked about Nick Robertson. He's the one that brought up Pontus Holmberg. So that's always a good sign if the coach or GM brings up a player. So let's see what he does on the ice. But as someone who's impressed him. But the other thing, Justin, is I got to believe the William Nylander at center is still in the mix. Whether it's going to be a good thing or not, I got to believe that. So you're not. His contract's done. That may have factored in last year. Like, just he was going well. Leave it like that. Let's not get John Tavares' nose out of joint, which I don't think they care anymore about that if he's going to be the third line center, hypothetically, and Nylander is the second, if they choose to deploy the players that way, that's going to happen. And that should give them three stronger lines in the playoffs where that comes more into play. So I believe that's any kind of tweak that maybe they didn't do for whatever reasons, they're willing to do during the course and see in the regular season. So, yeah, you want Austin Matthews, you want Mitch Marner, you want Nylander, so you want all those guys. So understand It's the same cast. We're going at it. And then game 83 is when we'll get to the heavy talk about can they make a difference? Regular seasons, they really had no problem.
Yeah, and we'll be past the trade deadline at that point. And maybe Pontus Holmberg is one of Brad Treliving's favorites, but ultimately you may need something more specifically in that middle six. And, it could be right there. You could move a couple of the puzzle pieces around and it could look even better than it does, or this could work, and all of a sudden you have a third line that can do more than just score goals, but also defend, and William Nylander and John Tavares can work well, in fact, with Max Domi. But we will see. It's a long season. There'll be plenty of lineup changes over the course of it. What does look very different is the back end. Of course, Morgan Rielly is that 1A on the left side of that top pair, but he'll be playing with Chris Tanev, who is probably the sort of guy that closely resembles a Ron Hainsey, but a far better player than Ron Hainsey, at least in terms of his ability to stabilize a top guy like Morgan Rielly. So that's the top pair. Another newcomer, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, will play with Jake McCabe on the second pair. And then Simon Benoit will make his first start, a very special one in Montreal, an opening day start that is, playing with Connor Timmins, not Timothy Liljegren. What do you make of the lineup decisions on the blue line?
So, it's funny because you had Justin Hall had that great year, and then it didn't happen. Then he was signed as a free agent. Now he's put on waivers by Detroit. TJ Brody went ordinary from being real steady, went ordinary. So it's been a funny animal on D. So obviously Connor Timmins is the guy. Can he seize the opportunity? I don't like the depth there. And one other, if I'm going to throw a negative in, last year, the trade deadline, Joel Edmondson was a real solid pickup. I mean, that was a real solid trade deadline pickup. And the challenge they have now is mainly because Kyle Dubas swung for the fences because they thought they were a better Stanley Cup contender than they actually were. So the cupboard's kind of bare when the trade deadline comes compared to some other teams to add that depth D that they're going to have to add. So, yeah, there's no wow on the D. There's no wow on the D. And if they get injured, there's less wow.
Yeah, that is in fact true, although there might be some heavy artillery coming with Yanni Hakanpää. For the Montreal Canadiens tonight, top line, Caulfield, Suzuki, Slavkovsky. On the second line, new hook, Doc Armia, Kirby Doc returning after missing most of it. Evans Gallagher on the third line, Barboulay, Dvorak, and Josh Anderson rounds out the fourth line. It'll be Matheson, Gooley, Lane Hudson, potentially a standout rookie for Montreal with David Savard, and then Arbor Xhekaj and Justin Barron. Arbor Xhekaj could be top of the list in terms of post-game narratives, given how he treated the preseason and who's in the lineup for the Maple Leafs. And Ryan Reeves, it'll be Samuel Montembeault getting the start for Montreal. We got a couple minutes. Just very quickly, Gord, about 30 seconds. What's your level of confidence in Montreal taking a step this year?
Solid, big, optimistic. They're you look at Suzuki, Caulfield, all those guys. That's what the Leafs did. Leafs had better players in Marner and Matthews, but they're doing it. They're making strides, and they got a better young D-core than the Maple Leafs had back when Matthews, Marner, and company broke into the NHL.
Okay, let's get to the player to watch, presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 18 plus, Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit ConnexOntario.ca. My player to watch today is Matthew Knies. Matthew Knies has a massive opportunity at his hands. A 250 anytime goal scorer tonight. I actually like his shot over better, plus 150 over 2.5 shots. Matthew Knies is in a contract year all of a sudden. He's playing with two of the greatest players in the NHL right now in Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. It can and should be a big season for Matthew Knies, who is now playing for a guy in Craig Berube, who probably...
And they didn't have anybody on that for a couple of years, or any prominent player. When he came in and played the playoffs 2 years ago, I was being cautious. Hey, people, you're expecting too much. No, he fit in the toughest place to play, the most pressure-packed, and really, really was solid. So and everybody playing with great players. That's not the easiest thing. Like Sidney Crosby, Patrick Hornquist suited him. Not necessarily some of the other better names. This guy really seems to have found that kind of fit. So I'm with you as far as expecting a breakout season.
Apparently put on 10 pounds in the offseason. Hopefully he can use that size to his advantage. Gord, again, we got about a minute. It's still really special opening night, isn't it?
Yeah, and really special. Yeah, always is really special in Montreal. Because for them, this is a playoff game still. When I was with the Leafs and we weren't in the playoffs, the Montreal games were playoff games. So you had a couple say, okay, we're going to get a couple of playoff games in the regular season. This rivalry is something about it's been inflamed more the last number of years. You have a lot of Toronto people traveling there. Montreal people travel here, so it's added a whole other ambiance in the building. So, yeah, it's special. And, hey, set the scene by getting a win and just say we're going to kick butt. We're going to go first to last, pole to pole, in first place in the Atlantic Division and set that kind of tone, home ice advantage, and go on from there. So it'd be nice to get that kind of start tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Included in that travel is the normal host of Molson Leafs Hockey, Ailish Forfar, who is in the building tonight watching in a blue sweater. So hopefully she gets out of there unscathed. Both these teams were dealt a bit of adversity heading into this game. Joseph Woll not available for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Patrick Laine not available tonight for the next couple weeks for the Montreal Canadiens, but they will meet again hopefully with the complete cast of characters. But that we can't worry about that tonight. It's the Maple Leafs and it is the Habs from Bell Center. Opening night in the NHL. It does not get better than that. We will send it to Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph on the other side. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Sports Grid Radio on Sirius XM has you covered this NFL season.
Clash between last year's NFC West champions gets Week 6 of the NFL underway. The 49ers traveling to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. The line opened with the 49ers as a 4-point favorite and a total of 46.5. Make sure you tune into Sports Grid Radio to stay up to date on all the latest.
The place to get the winning edge over the sportsbook.
What's up, Canada? It's opening night. It's Leafs hockey, Leafs, Habs. Nothing better than opening night between the two best rivals in all of sports. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight as we're running our Sick Kids campaign as well for opening night. Please take a minute to smash that like button down below. Exit out of the chat, hit that thumbs up. Help us get more hockey fans here in the chat to cheer on our Maple Leafs as we go for the win, the full 2 points against the Habs here on opening night. Thank you so much for hitting that like button. Please, as well, share this link out to your friends, to your family, to your enemies. Bring everybody here into the chat and let's have some fun and keep it classy. Share it out is the best way to bring more people here in the chat and just, watch that count continue to rise. Now, let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you guys back in the chat.
Don't worry about mine.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91. And on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. NHL Morning Skate.
The LA Kings just been a funny animal about their goaltending. I mean, Jonathan Quick for so many years and then flashes in the pan that quickly dissipate. And Vegas is a great example. They won with Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill. And that was good enough goaltending to win a Stanley Cup. And that, at a minimum, is what the Los Angeles Kings need to do.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stiller. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. On and off the ice.
Steven Stamkos. You wonder, is that it for him with the Tampa Bay Lightning? He's the guy that's probably, with Marty St. Louis and Vinny Lecavalier, recognized as the all-time greatest Tampa Bay Lightning players. This is all about deciding whether or not the price is going to be right to keep your captain around and potentially keep him a Tampa Bay Lightning member for his entire career.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91. And on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
Here's a chance. Oh, what a stop!
There were eight.
Glad the line, long drive, rebound, they scored!
Zadorov behind the net for Garland in front. Lindholm scores!
As Martin backs it in, he scores!
With the first round behind us, the battles only get more intense.
Blocked by Montour. Out in front, Bobrovsky!
Follow your favorite team.
The Stanley Cup playoffs continue.
NHL Network Radio.
Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
No one keeps you closer to U.S. soccer than Sirius XM FC.
We're now joined by U.S. men's national team head coach Mauricio Pochettino.
The country is about to compete, to win, and to give everything. What we need to translate to the fans, we need to be protagonists, we need to be aggressive team, an entertainment team, because we are USA and the culture is about to win.
Hear more from Mauricio Pochettino on the Sirius XM app. Just search
What's
FC.
up, insiders? Insiders, how you doing? Great to see you tonight. Thank you all for being here. Big shout out to Jose Duarte with the $10 super chat. That's a great prediction right there. 4-2 win. I love it, Jose. Thank you for being here.
Cheers, everybody. Yes, Goff, Woll is out again. He got injured in practice the other day. He's out. So Stoller's in net tonight. Just a heads up, I apologize. It's a little bit choppy today. I lost half of my infrastructure down in Florida. I am offline at the house. So I am down 2 PCs. So thank you all for dealing with my nightmare. It should be over soon. I'm doing my best to mitigate it. And a big shout out to Jose for that super chat. Now let's go Leafs. Let's win this baby. It's opening night. It's so awesome to be back with all of you guys. Adam in the chat, Mark Daigle, Delicious. That's a great name, by the way. Leaf Fan King, Jeffrey Curry. Good to see you. Jeffrey. I don't even know. Whatever. Joffrey is what I always call you. All right, back to the hockey. Cheers, everybody.
Apprehension. I mean,
what's up, Canada? It's
Leafs
opening night.
And the
it's Leafs hockey.
Means absolutely nothing, so long as you get there.
Yeah, and they're there at that point now. But obviously, the Montreal Canadiens, I don't think many see as a playoff team this year, but they want to show an improvement. And interesting note: the current streak they are missing the playoffs 3 years in a row ties the longest streak in franchise history of missing the postseason.
Sure, bring that up. I grew up through all of that stuff. And I had friends who were Montreal Canadiens fans, and I've hated them ever since.
But 99 to 2001 was the 3-game stretch before this. And then you have to go back to 1920 to 1922.
Okay, I wasn't around for that.
Yeah, you're not in broadcasting.
No.
But anyway, so it has been an interesting stretch for the Montreal Canadiens. I know we've talked about the Red Wings making the playoffs 25 straight years and now missing for 8 straight. Canadians on a similar roll right now.
So already there is some controversy, and it is the proprietors of the polyester pavilions, brought to you by Molson. Molson, everyone in, and no stranger to the start. Sam Montembeault gets the call for the Montreal Canadiens. He was 16, 15, and 9 a year ago, 3.14 and a .903 save percentage. Joseph Woll was supposed to start, but some kind of a tightness in the lower body. Not sure what extremity we're talking about.
Placed on IR.
But on IR, so he's going to be out for a bit. And so Anthony Stolarz, who was picked up from the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, gets the start. He was 16-7-2 a year ago, 2.03 goals against average, .925 save percentage. Lifetime, he's 3-1-0 against the Canadiens with a 3.19 goals against average and an .898 save percentage in those games. So already it hasn't started. The season hasn't started, and we already have injury situations and obviously more than a little controversy, starting with the Maple Leafs, as Joseph Woll is not able to answer the bell. But it should be an interesting, and trust me, it doesn't matter where these two teams are in the standings. Opening night is a big game, and a lot of times the underdog ends up coming out. Now, the Leafs have had their way with the Canadiens in recent years on opening nights.
Yeah, just opening night overall, the Leafs have been on a pretty good roll, winning 6 of 7. But last year, the start for Austin Matthews, back-to-back 3-goal games, which included the opener at home against the Montreal Canadiens. But in that game, Joe, 2 of the 3 goals were scored late in the third period with the Leafs down by a couple. So for Austin Matthews to flirt with 70 goals again this year, it's hard to overlook the fact he started with 6 in the first 2 regular season games.
Leafs have won the last 5 against the Canadiens. As we get ready to go with the Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens, the Leafs will be to the left and the Canadiens to the right on your radio dial, and we are underway, and glad you're along with us as Christopher Tanev, the Leaf newcomer on defense, dumps it down into the Montreal zone. Suzuki given a hit there by Matthews, who steals the puck back of the net, swings it in front of the goal. Marner got a crack at it. That was stopped. Point shot. That deflects wide of the Montreal net. Marner working it back into the corner for Matthews. Matthews stops up, looks for Nyes. Get him into the corner. Nyes with a centering pass, hit a leg. Gets it again. Nyes banking it back to the blue line over on the near side for Tanev. Tanev shot in traffic stop. Marner trying to get to a rebound and could not get his stick on the puck, as the Leafs have started very aggressively here, as the puck is still in the Montreal zone and finally cleared out. And Montreal will play it back into their own end to try and stretch things out and get a change of players going. Gooley in behind the Canadiens' net. Up on the wing, Gallagher got it out and down into the Toronto zone. Jake McCabe had it bounce over his stick, and then a centering pass, and Stollers makes his first save in a Leaf uniform with the right pad. Nylander getting it out at center. The Leafs fail to get it into the zone. Bouncing puck off his stick. Domi is able to chip it along the boards, and down into Montreal territory it goes. And we have something going on behind the play that we're not seeing. Oh, now we do, as Domi is in a little bit of a dust-up on the far boards.
David Savard.
Yeah.
Is the Montreal player. Not sure what happened there, but we've got some crossover players now. Max Domi and Max Pacioretty, obviously both playing with the Montreal Canadiens previously, and both appear to be heading to the penalty box. Guessing it's probably going to be a couple of roughing penalties. But the Leafs come out, the Leafs came out like a team that was down 2-0 in a playoff series, didn't they? That there was some urgency to get things started.
So Savard and Domi are going to the penalty box for roughing. But what a great shift that the Matthews line had to start the game.
Boy, Domi, looking at the replay, Domi got about 2 or 3 extra shots in, so we'll see if...
And Montreal is actually going to go to the power play.
So just the one penalty? Looked like Savard was the instigator on the replay, but it looks like the Leafs will be forced to kill the first one.
So here's an area that the Leafs have to improve on, as it is shot out and down the ice immediately. They were 23rd in the league a year ago, 55 of 238, 76.9%. The preseason, which means absolutely nothing, they were absolutely brilliant. Here the Canadiens into the slot, and a shot off the glove, and the rebound is quickly cleared out and down the ice by Toronto.
Meanwhile, the Montreal Canadiens 27th in the NHL on the power play, just 17.5% efficiency.
Matheson gets around one man, drops the puck back. Canadians, Suzuki getting it in over the line, got it down into the corner. Around on the boards, it'll come to the near side. Matthews lost his stick in a collision there with Caulfield as it comes to the point to Matheson. Into the slot, a shot right on, kicked away nicely by Stollers. Back it comes to Caulfield. Caulfield loses the puck to Marner. Marner down the right wing, hoping for Matthews to join. Marner in for Matthews, and it was just out of his reach. He had his stick lifted at the last second as Suzuki brings it back the other way. Into the slot area, and a wrist shot is weakly played to the front of the goal. The Canadian player fell down instead of getting a shot away as Suzuki lost an edge there. Canadians keep it in at the blue line. Pass in front. Brilliant save by the right pad of Stollers. Clearing attempt fails by Toronto. Canadians with pressure in the power play. Blocked there by McCabe. Punched along the boards, and Marner backhands out and down the ice.
Boy, Anthony Stollers, 4 saves already to start this game, and all 4 of them were difficult. Right in front, and Stollers has shut the door.
Penalty is over. Canadians get it back down into the left wing corner. They jam in there as Nyes tries to pry it free. It comes back from Armia to the point. Just kept in there. Good hit by Camp. Knocks his man down, but it's off to the wing now for Hudson. Hudson works down the boards. Can't get a shot away. Nyes trying to tie him up. Ekman Larson got in there as well, and the Leafs are going to play it off a Canadiens player, so no one in the Montreal zone. No score early here, 16-26. We've already had 7 shots on goal. 4 of them from the Canadiens. Jackeye getting it out at center. Brought in over the line. A hip check there thrown against Jake Evans. Stopped him. Cleared around the boards by Benoit. Leafs break it out at center with a pass up on the right side. Here's Robertson in, and a penalty coming here to Montreal. Into the corner it goes. And it'll be touched here by Gallagher. And a good play made by Pacioretty, I believe, who was heading to the front of the net and was taken down. So the Leafs are going to get an opportunity on the power play, and it will be the first of the season, and their power play a year ago was pretty darn good. 7th overall in the NHL, and it's brought to you by Enbridge Sustain. With Smart Flow heating and cooling systems that always think about you, you can just think about Play's Sweet Flow.
And a little earlier on the 2-on-1, the shorthanded break, Joe, with Marner and Austin Matthews, Kirby Dach might have got away with a hook. He lifted the stick of Matthews, but the stick got into Matthews' hands. So the Leafs on their next 2-on-1 are able to draw the penalty.
Heineman in the box for Montreal. Marner at the point, into the corner for Matthews. Sharp angle shot, handled easily by Montembeault. Riley down low, can't keep it in, and it's cleared out into the center ice area and down in behind the Toronto goal. Stollers will leave it there. Riley circles the net and starts up ice. Dodged his own man, then dropped it off for Matthews. Nice little move to gain the zone. On the wing for Nylander. Back to Matthews. Into the slot area for Marner. He works back to the blue line to Matthews. Top of the circle, right wing side. Back to the point to Riley. Riley holds. Let the shot go. That got through. No redirect. It was an easy wrist shot and an easy save for Montembeault without any deflection. Canadians have iced the puck with a minute 10 to go in the power play.
I think this is all Craig Berube, Joe. Get more pucks to the net. We don't have to spend a minute 45 trying to set up the perfect opportunity when the power play's on.
Domi gets it into the zone. Pacioretty was kind of interfered with. The puck comes back to the blue line, and Ekman-Larsson can't keep it in. Domi turning back to the line and in. Dished off on the wing and into the corner. Domi with a centering pass. It goes off a stick and up into the screen. And another faceoff coming in the Montreal zone. 44 seconds left to go in the power play for the Maple Leafs. Their first of the season, first of the game.
One thing I've noticed through the preseason into this, you know how that, and we saw Montreal do this in their power play to start. You know, that big drop it back, keep throwing it back to the late guy to come in. Leafs have gotten away from that under Craig Berube. It's more of a straight line approach instead of, and I like it because I think when you've got three guys waiting at the blue line with no speed, no momentum, I think it kills you if the guy that's carrying the puck doesn't get it into the zone.
Leafs play it around the boards, but it's cut off by the Canadiens. They'll get it out at center. Evans gets down into the Toronto zone and plays it around back of the net with 28 seconds left. Here's Ekman-Larsson starting straight up to center. Makes a little head move, then drops the puck back. Never mind. Brought in over the line by Domi. Back to Ekman-Larsson. Shot coming. Deflects in front of the goal. Still loose. Pacioretty trying to get a wrist shot away, and his stick was lifted at the last second. And around back of the net it goes. And Matheson will get it on the wing, and the Canadiens get it out at center, and the penalty will expire. Neither team able to score with the man advantage. As a shot deflects into the far corner, and Ekman-Larsson is there as he stops things up, and they will organize. Leafs with 7. They got 4 shots on goal in that power play, and 7 on the night. Played down into the Montreal zone. Canadians play it up on the boards there by Barron, and now out at center come the Canadiens to get it down into the corner. Suzuki round back of the net. Caulfield had it lost. It comes back to the point. Keeping it alive is Jack-Eye. Over to his defense partner. A long shot is into the equipment of Stollers. And with a lot of traffic in there to help out, a face-off and a win for the Leafs in their own zone. And a face-off coming in the circle to the left. It is a scoreless tie. The Leafs and the Canadiens. Game 1 of 82. And you're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
I'm Ashley Flowers, host of the #1 true crime podcast in the world, Crime Junkie. This Halloween season, we're getting into the spirit on Crime Junkie Radio. With hair-raising episodes of full-body chills, Crime Junkie Radio is your ultimate spooky destination for 24/7 true crime all month long. It's all on Crime Junkie Radio, your ultimate obsession. Hear it now and anytime exclusively on the SiriusXM app. Just search Crime Junkie Radio.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the...
Cheers, Insiders. We made it. We made it to hockey season. It's opening night. NHL face-off tonight. The Maple Leafs travel to Montreal. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Tonight is a special night. We are running our Sick Kids Create 100K campaign, and the link is pinned in the chat. We want to make a big difference for Sick Kids Hospital tonight. And we do that every single live stream here on Toronto Sports Insider, as a percentage of our proceeds goes donated directly to sick kids every single month. You're making a difference just by being here as well, by seeing an ad. If you see something that you like, please click it and support the advertisers here on YouTube, as it does help our Sick Kids campaign. Now, let's get back to opening night. Go Leafs, go! Thank you for your support, and please help us create a bunch of donations for this Sick Kids campaign. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Changing the world, one insider at a time. Go Leafs, go!
28 remaining in the frame.
Now, what's your level of concern, Joseph Woll? And I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about the rest of the season, playoffs, and his career, from his past to now.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. As a shot rings off a leg, just the fact that it's a reoccurring situation. Marner gets the puck in over the line, trying to drive the net with a shot. Montembeault got a left hand in front of that and knocked it away. Puck is back into the corner. Matthews trying to center. Didn't reach Marner. And the Canadiens get it out of the center, only to be shot right back in again by Toronto. Where'd the puck go? Oh, high in the air. Knocked down, and now Montreal has it again. Brought to center by Slafkovsky. A pass to the far side, and another penalty coming here. A slash. And it may be Connor Timmins who is heading to the penalty box as a result. Second power play coming up here for Montreal.
It's almost like the previous games between the Canadiens and Leafs in the preseason. I remember Arbor Jackeye took a 5-minute major for fighting, 2 minutes for instigating, so it was a 7-minute power play for the Leafs, and the next 5 power plays went to Montreal. Connor Timmins, a hack in the hands of the Montreal player crossing the Leaf blue line, and that's going to cost him.
Timothy Liljegren and Philip Myers are the scratches defensively for the Maple Leafs, and Bobby McMahon is the scratch on the forward complement. As a centering pass, blockered away nicely by Stollers. That was set up nicely in front of the net by Caulfield. Over on the right wing side. Here the Canadiens trying to work into the corner. Barré-Boulet gets it back to the point. Working down the boards now is Hudson. Back to Barré-Boulet. Far half boards. Back to the point. Armia as the second unit working here for the Canadiens. Gallagher is in front of the net trying to create some problems. That brought a scramble into the goal crease. And the glove of Stollers is down on it. And he will cover up.
I think the concern, again, going to Joseph Woll, but with Stollers as well. Between the two of them, Woll played 25 games last year with the Leafs and was hurt for the better part of the season. That's his career high, 25 games. For Stollers, it's 27 games that he played for the Anaheim Ducks a number of years ago. So both guys, Stollers really has been more opportunity or lack of opportunity than anything else. And on the other side, you've got Woll's health, which, is the concern.
Canadiens win the faceoff down low. Centering pass, and they score! Caulfield off to the near side gets the opening goal of the season for Montreal, and it's a power play goal with Timmins in the box.
Perfectly executed, top of the crease. Pass finds a lane there, goes from the left to the right of Stollers, and he's unable to get over in time. And the great quick release, right-handed shot of Caulfield on the left wing side. As it was Oliver Ekman-Larsson had the stick down but couldn't stop the pass from getting through. And this is the pass from the right point down low to the left of the Leaf net and then quickly funneled across the crease, and a perfectly executed goal by the Canadiens.
29 goals or 28 goals a year ago for Caulfield, 65 points. Wearing number 13 this season. In reference to the Goodrow brothers and the tragedy that befell them, and a nice touch from Cole Caulfield, who obviously was a close friend. As the puck comes to the near side and played up on the wing, and the Leafs have it back in their own zone. 1-0 Montreal. Brought to center Ekman-Larsson tries to get it in over the line. Knocked back to neutral ice. Nylander sifts down the right wing. Drops it back for Timmins. Timmins gets a shot away. Pad save made there by Montembeault. Leafs gain the rebound. Nylander top of the circle. Still with it. Got the shot away. That deflected off a body and went wide. Canadians up against the boards with it. And Dvorak will get it freed up for Hudson. And he now backhands it high into center ice. But it's grabbed off by the Leafs. Robertson in with a shot, and that hit a leg. Robertson with a little move to try to gain the corner, but couldn't. Now Holmberg trying to get there. He was being held. It comes back of the net into the near corner, and after it, Pacioretty back to the point of shot. That's deflected wide. Pacioretty goes to the front of the net. Holmberg trying to get it in front for him, and it's knocked high into the air and down into the Leaf end, forcing Tanev back, but out comes Stollers. That's blocked. Stollers trying to get back into his cage, and he has to make a save after the giveaway. Armia getting it towards the net.
Hindsight being 2020. Stollers should have just left it for Tanev.
I think so. Newhook for the Canadians, back to the point. Gooley with a pass into the corner. Centering feed by Matheson didn't connect. Back it comes to Gooley again. Near side, and a one-timer by Armia was partially deflected, and it's a good thing it did because he had some room on the short side if he'd have made good contact. Robertson can't get the puck out initially. Gets it again. Banks it on the boards and gets it to center. Jack-Eye up on the right side. Plays in over the line. Leafs have it again. Now a pass by Tanev to center. Launched in over the line, and the fourth line for the Leafs on now. Here is Reeves taken in against the boards. Tries to get it away from Jack-Eye. It played up on the wing, and it'll be pushed out into the center ice area. Canadians, Slafkovsky in across the line. Broken up there, and it is grabbed off by Jake McCabe, who will start things back for Toronto. 1-0 Montreal in the first period. Camp gets it down into the corner. Barron couldn't get around the boards with it. Canadians have to go after it far side, but Nyes arrives with haste and against the boards. Nyes trying to dig it free, but can't. Camp is out there as well. The Leafs are in the midst of a change, and the first line joining Nyes as the rest of them head to the bench. Canadians get to center, and it'll be shot by Savard into Toronto territory. Nyes against the boards far side, gives way to Benoit, and Benoit on the wing gets it ahead, and Marner quickly ahead for the captain. And across the line is Matthews into the corner. Matthews around back of the net. Matthews trying to work it back to the blue line. Good play to keep it in by Marner. Nice bodied by Matheson in the corner. And the Canadians are able to get out of the zone as Heineman gets in over the line with a long shot there against Stollers. To the point. Matheson to the far side, grips it around to the near wing. Jake Evans trying to get it back to the point. Long shot deflects wide. Timmins getting it up on the wing, but not far enough to get it to Marner, who doesn't get it out. Matheson walks the line, pass into the slot, and it rolls to the side off the stick of Gooley, and an easy cover for Stollers to stop play with 8:17 left in the first period. Caulfield gets the opening goal of the hockey game, and it is 1-0 in favor of Montreal. Slafkovsky and Doc assisting at 7:48. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolute.
Cheers, hockey fans. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I just wanted to take a minute to thank each and every one of you for hanging out with us and making this community what it is. A year ago, we embarked on a journey. At 6,000 subscribers on October 1st, I would have never imagined that we would be pushing towards 50,000 here as we hit opening night for the Leafs. And it's all because of you. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for helping me grow this amazing Toronto sports fan group where we make a real world difference in our community, in our partnership with Sick Kids Hospital. Let's get back to the hockey. Thank you again. Go Leafs go, and we'll see you back in the chat.
StainSmartFlow.com to learn more.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. there's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Nylander closing in a goal! Scores!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
First period brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit ConnexOntario.ca. 8:17 to play in the period. 1-0 Montreal here with, as I said, 8:17 left in the period.
Tell you, and that's 3 minor penalties in the first 12 minutes. Again, now it's difficult for the coaches to try to get everybody involved. So many shifts have been missed already early in the game.
Working back at the point, Lane Hudson works down into the corner, around back of the Toronto goal. Still with it, centers. It comes back to the point. Walking the line with it was Barron. Now off a stick to the far wing. Tavares can't come up with it, but Tanev does. And Tanev will send it back, and Ekman-Larsson quickly plays it around on the wing, and the Leafs get it out to Nylander. Nylander, right wing side. Stops up at the half boards. Works back towards the blue line. Had it knocked off his stick, and it's cleared out at center ice. Nylander right back in again after it, though. Tavares trying to feather it into the corner and does. Centered! Nylander's shot went off a leg. Pacioretty working on this line. Around back of the net, Pacioretty with it in the corner. Back to the point, but it's cut off, and the Canadiens break it out. Right wing side. Barré-Boulet, and a pass that was partially deflected goes down into the corner, and Kirby Dach couldn't get to it. Leafs will get it out at center. A race for it here, and Pontus Holmberg may have had his stick held just at an opportune moment. Gets a backhand away, and a weak shot was handled by Montembeault, but good hustle there by Pontus Holmberg. Canadians back in with Dach centering. Knocked away and then batted wide of the Leaf goal. Played into the air, I think knocked back behind the net then by Riley's glove. Canadians keep it in. Into the slot with a one-timer. Stopped by Stolarz. Pass in front. Stolarz stopped that. And it's cleared away into the corner. Canadians with it again. Trying to play it back to the blue line, but it goes by everyone. Back into Montreal territory. Gagai sends it into the Toronto zone. A centering effort knocked away there by Stolarz. Pretty good play by Caulfield, though. He had Stolarz just getting back into the goal crease and decided why not take a crack at a sharp angle shot.
That's a Nick Robertson mentality, right?
Yeah. Centering pass for Marner. Backhanded towards the net. Steered wide then by Montembeault. Puck against the boards is back up on the wing, and out comes Suzuki with it. Suzuki had it knocked off his stick. Nyes regroups it back with the defense. And Tanev will start out on the right wing. Up ahead at center. Across the line for Marner. Marner top of the circle. Looking for the redirect. And jumping into the rush was Ekman-Larsson. He got a stick on it, but it deflected wide. Marner centers again, but it's right onto the Canadian stick of Suzuki. And it is played by the Canadiens to center ice. Heineman regrouping as both teams are changing with 5:38 to play in the first period, and the Canadiens leading 1-0. Start of a 2-game road trip for the Maple Leafs. The team will be in New Jersey tomorrow night as we get an offside at the Toronto blue line, which gives us an opportunity to tell you that John McIsaac and Dan O'Rourke are the referees. Tyson Baker and James Tobias are the linesmen tonight.
Now, I'd say the Leafs need some improvement in their own end. Do you not agree? I think they've given up far more dangerous opportunities than Craig Berube would have liked to this point.
13 shots against at this point. The Leafs have 10. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Every fantasy football champion makes one defining move.
You are just a season-long fantasy football player. Don't overvalue wide receiver, cornerback. Seriously.
Fantasy Sports Radio can help you make that move.
Use your bench to improve your lineup. That's what your bench is for. This week is proving why that's the case.
Listen to the best analysts for lineup advice, trade questions, and roster moves. Make your move with Fantasy Sports Radio, Sirius XM 87, and the Sirius XM app.
What's up, insiders? All right, we are kicking some butt tonight here, but the Leafs are not kicking butt tonight. TSI is doing well, even though the hurricane is hitting the home office. So cheers, everybody. We're as of right now, the last text I got is everything is okay. We are just about to pass 44,000. Thank you so much. Kaylee in the chat, I see you. Here is your hi. Thank you for hanging out with us. All right, here we go, everybody. Pike, cheers, my man. So great to see you, Pike. Thank you for that email. Back to the hockey. We got to talk about our sick kids donations coming up in the first intermission. Let's make a crazy real-world difference here. We did it in the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do it again on opening night. Cheers, everybody. Let's go, Leafs. Let's tie this thing up before the period ends. Come on. Go, Leafs, go.
We are USA.
Cheers,
Hockey
Insiders. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We've made it to hockey season. It's opening night. NHL faceoff tonight. The Maple Leafs travel to Montreal.
The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM Radio Network.
Leafs won 24 times on the road a year ago, which is the club record for victories away from Maple Leaf Gardens, Air Canada Centre, Scotiabank Arena. Anything else?
Mutual Street
Arena. Yeah, forgot about the Mutual. That was a great venue, too. Great sight lines.
It was cold.
Yeah, it was really cold. A little bit smaller than what the boys in Arizona had a year ago, but there was still a nice rink. Played by Tanev. I actually got to play in that rink before it was torn down. It was still functioning back in the 80s, I believe. At least it was on the site of the old one anyway.
1980s?
You're no longer my friend. Played down in the Canadian zone. Centering pass and a shot. Went just wide of the net off the stick of Max Domi. Domi back of the goal. Trying to work it in front. He does, but Nylander didn't shoot it. Now he gets it to Tavares. Couple of shots at it, and that was stopped by Montembeault. And cleared down the ice for an icing.
Well, Max Domi back out with Willie Nylander and John Tavares, as we did see a little earlier. And Max Pacioretty was out with Tavares and Nylander, and Willie Nylander there starts behind the Montreal net and a blind behind the back pass out to John Tavares on the short side, but give Montembeault credit. He read it perfectly. I think Nylander was hoping that Montembeault might try to get a head start to get to the far post, but he held on.
4.5 minutes to play in the period. 1-0 Montreal on a power play goal. As it goes back into the Leaf zone, and now Matthews getting it ahead. Tip back for Morgan Riley, and across the line. On the wing it goes, and chipped around back of the net by Ekman Larsson. Then played into the near corner, and Marner steals. Tried to dump it in front, but Matthews had it bounce over his stick. Nyes trying to get it back to the blue line. Ekman Larsson keeps it in. Played out at center ice, though, and Caulfield works in across the line. Caulfield into the slot. His shot wide. Rebound. Fed right across the goal crease, but no one there for Montreal. Matthews stick handles his way back into his own zone. Will chip it off to an open wing. Found there by Riley. Pass up on the left wing side. Now trying to play it in there was Pacioretty, as the Canadiens fans are booing their former captain. Centering pass in front, and a penalty coming here to Montreal. Pacioretty gets it back to the blue line. And it'll be touched here by the Canadiens, or will it? No, the Leafs are going to be able to organize back in their own zone with an extra attacker on the ice. Nylander starting out of his own zone slowly, and then decides to go back and wind it up again. Here comes Willie. Nylander to center, gathering speed as he hits the blue line, drops it off for Domi. Domi works the blue line, and then as they tried to get it to Marner, it was right along the line, and an extra move put the puck offside. So with 3:01 to go, the Leafs are going to go to their second power play opportunity, and it is brought to you by Enbridge Sustain. With a smart flow heating and cooling system that's always thinking about you, you can just think about the players' sweet flow.
This is Ray Boulay is going to take the penalty, and pretty good one to take. Nick Robertson going to the net, just got the puck on his stick, and a pretty good hack by the former Tampa Bay Lightning by Ray Boulay. And the Leafs will go to their second power play of the night.
Draw to the right of Montembeault. Tavares taking the face-off for Toronto and wins it cleanly, and it comes back to Riley as he walks the line, dishes off on the far side. Nylander down low. Matthews trying to roll it in front, had it hit a stick. Now or at least Tavares getting it back to the blue line. Nylander, little saucer, now works to the far half board. Still with it, down low to Tavares. Works back of the net. Tried to play it back to Willie. That was broken up. The Canadiens get a hold of it, and they'll get it out at center ice. Morgan Rielly goes back to retrieve the puck and starts up ice. Gives to Nylander. Nylander forced back, now curls and starts out, then circles, and still with it. Dropped it off on the far side. Leafs kind of not really knowing what to do here. They're not dropping it back like you mentioned, although now they do, and it is finally gaining the zone as Tavares gets across the line, just kept in by Rielly. Long shot, and it is caught and held by Montembeault, and a face-off coming. It really did look like they weren't. We don't want to drop it all the way back again.
So what do we do?
Yeah, what do we do with it now? Yeah. Mark Savard is sort of in charge of the power play that the Leafs are going to try to implement this year, and obviously, and really, they've really not had the number one unit together a lot for game action anyway. In the six preseason tests.
Second unit is out now. And this should be pretty good. You got Domi, Nyes, Pacioretty, and Robertson from the forward side. The extra forward out, Oliver Ekman-Larsson is on the point.
And the draw won by Toronto. Here's Robertson in the far corner. Back to the blue line to Ekman-Larsson. Returned. Robertson again. Then gave the puck away. And Matheson is going to skate it out. And Nick Robertson's on his horse to try to catch him. And now it's played off the boards into the Leaf zone and around back of the net. Robertson gets it again. Works to the line and in. Trying to keep it alive is Domi. He was knocked down on the play. The puck knocked back to center ice with a half minute to go in it. Ekman-Larsson dropping it off, brought on by Robertson. Right wing side, Pacioretty on the wing. Pacioretty gets it around back of the net. Robertson couldn't settle it down. Canadians have played it around the boards and out and down the ice.
The Montreal Canadiens' second power play of the period produced the only goal so far, and their power play was better as the power play time went on. The Leafs have absolutely disintegrated here with the extra man on the second power play.
Just one shot on the power play, and it is over with. Back of the net now for David Kampf. Kampf works it back to the point. Tanev cross ice to his defense partner. Long shot into the glove of Montembeault with Steven Lorentz right in front of the net.
Difference between these two clubs from a year ago when the Canadiens were in Toronto to open the season. Arber Xhekaj and Ryan Reeves fought 10 minutes into the opening period. It was 2-5-10, the instigator for Arber Xhekaj. The other thing that happened, the Leafs didn't score until the second period last year in the opener. You know who scored it? Noah Gregor.
There you go.
Scored the first goal of the season for the Leafs a year ago. He is now with the Ottawa Senators.
Arber Xhekaj's younger brother, who plays a lot like older brother, was at the Montreal training camp this year. As the faceoff is in the Canadian zone, under a minute to play in the first period. As the puck comes back to the blue line, a shot deflects wide of the Canadiens' goal. Losing his stick was Kampf. Kampf has to try to regain it, and Lorentz gets it in front of the net, jamming at it, Lorentz, and it goes around back of the goal. Back to the point it comes. McCabe can't find an opening, then sends it purposely wide of the net. Centering pass in front. Great chance there in front of the goal. Was that Lorentz? It was. There's going to be another penalty to Montreal. Leafs have it, but the penalty is blown dead, the play.
It's going to be a high sticking penalty. The Leafs may end up with 4 as the referee comes over to inspect, although I don't see any evidence of blood on Steven Lorentz, but he had a great opportunity. Barron just did get his stick on Lorentz in the initial attempt for the shot, and then when Lorentz went for the rebound, that's when the stick came up. And Barron has gone for high stick, and it looks like it's just going to be a 2-minute minor.
And so the third power play opportunity of the game coming for the Maple Leafs. With 17 seconds left in the frame, it's rattled around the boards and out and down the ice. Brought to you by Enbridge Sustain. With a smart flow heating and cooling system that's always thinking about you, you can just think about the player's sweet flow. Leafs get it in over the line, but out of the reach of Nylander. Nylander trying to corral it. Final seconds ticking down with one more shot to the net. Blocked by Montreal. And so the Canadiens will carry a 1-0 lead into the second period on a power play goal by Cole Caulfield.
And really, when you look at the opening period for the Leafs, I mean, they did have some moments. They end up with 17 shots on goal. Which does seem high, doesn't it? 14 for the Montreal Canadiens, 17 for the Leafs. But the first shift of the game might have been the most impressive we saw the Leafs in the opening 20.
And had a couple of good scoring chances, but did not score. And the power play for Caulfield lifts the Canadiens into a 1-0 lead. Gord Stellick, along with our host Justin Cuthbert, will be along with our first period intermission. Ailish Forfar is away on her honeymoon, so I trust that they're enjoying, and I believe they're down in Vermont or Connecticut, down in New England somewhere. So that should be fun as well. So at any rate, we'll step aside. 1-0 in favor of the Canadiens after one. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Nobody gets you ready for the NBA season like Sirius XM NBA Radio.
Already you can tell that's going to be a fun team to watch.
This is someone who is ready for the bright lights.
Our experts are weighing in on the playoff hopes of your favorite team.
Defensively, they have zero weaknesses.
Hear conversations with the biggest stars in the game.
Talking to the one and only Steph Curry. Talk with Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics.
Anthony Edwards.
I want to compete at the highest level.
We're previewing the season all this week on NBA Radio, Channel 86 in the car, and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
This is the NHL. These are pros. You don't want guys to put good power play units on, don't take penalties. You don't want good power play units to score goals when you've given up a whole bunch, kill them. You don't like it, do something about it. If you want to reward your guys who had a good game with a chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team. Don't worry about mine.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule.
Insiders, what's up? First period is done. Ladies and gentlemen, we're done. I got to back it up from the mic here. Holy cow. Sorry, I was lost in the Mets-Phillies chat with 3,400 people over there. Leafs, come on. First period was weak. I'm not happy. But it's early. We got this. Stolarz is all right. He's fine. We've got this. Great to see everybody in the chat tonight. Mark Daigle, Stefan, Pike's Wrath, great to see you again. Rod Bottomley, man, Rod and Lisa and Stefan, you guys have been here all summer long. Thank you so much. And speaking of Lisa, Lisa just made a huge donation to our Sick Kids campaign. I'm refreshing the page here. Sorry, it looks like I'm looking way out here. But a huge donation. Lisa Aiello, thank you. $30 to Sick Kids. Thank you so much. I appreciate the email as well. And guys, let's do something special for Sick Kids tonight. We've got Jordan at Sick Kids paying attention. He said he was going to stop by here in the live. I've been so busy with the other streams and dealing with this hurricane that is hitting my house, home office down in Florida right now. We as of last check about an hour ago, it looked to be going okay. No tornadoes came through by my house, but the water is creeping up, and it's a good chance that the water will get in again. We had to move all of our computers out of the office and take them to higher ground. So cheers to everybody for hanging out with us tonight, and a special message for Mr. Fuji and Axeman. Hey Axe, happy 67th birthday, brother. Happy Happy birthday, Axe. Thank you for hanging out with us all the time. And as well, Will Doyle, good evening. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Dave Terpster, great to see you. Great to see you. Yeah, it's they do look worse on TV than they sound on the radio. I've been trying to pick up a few minutes of the game here and there between bouncing between the baseball games and whatnot. But hey, 44,000 is here. Ladies and gentlemen, we were at 4,750 when I started streaming the Leafs games with opening night last season. And we're approaching 50,000. So thank you for hitting that subscribe button. Thank you for supporting our advertisers as well. If you guys see an ad, please, if it's something you like, please click it. That money ends up making its way to Sick Kids because we donate a percentage of our revenue every single month to Sick Kids Hospital. Now, with that being said, let's get back to the intermission. Go Leafs, go. Let's finish this game strong. Let's get the second period going. And Allison, if you're watching this one, I saw you in the chat with the baseball game. I love you so much, babe. Thank you for being awesome. And thank you all for being so awesome in the chat as well. We'll be back to the hockey in a little bit. Have a great time, everybody. Let's keep it classy. Go Leafs, go. Cheers, Insiders.
Wow, taking it right to them. And then you get a couple of penalties. And
a Max Domi penalty, to be specific.
Yeah, neutral zone. Really, I understand you want to have a little bit of physicality, but that kind of diffused your start. Then Connor Timmins, buddy, if you want to stay on the blue line, you hack in the stick wrist area, they're going to call you every time. So you got a couple of those that kind of took away from it, just that all-court press that they seemed to be doing successfully early on. And then, as we talked about, Anthony Stolarz played great. I mean, that's the upside. No Joe Woll. But the Leafs definitely got the better goaltending, which also means, Justin, as you know, logically, Montreal got the better chances.
Yeah, it was a perfectly executed power play goal by the Montreal Canadiens. Slavkovsky sending it across to Caulfield. Stolarz was great in the period. No real chance. It would have been miraculous if he stopped that one. But yeah, I think Stolarz was definitely the highlight of the period. He's big. Like, that's not, I'm not breaking any news to anyone, but he plays big too. It looks like he's in control out there. I think for those who are really worried about the Joseph Woll injury, that was probably a positive period, at least from a goaltending standpoint. There were power play opportunities for Montreal. There were power play opportunities from Toronto. And I think that brings us tactically to the story of the first 20 minutes. It seems as though Marc Savard will be, at least for now, giving equal opportunity to the A and B power play units. It was not a quick hook because it wasn't a hook at all. It was premeditated, it seems, but a minute for the top unit, which features, the core four plus Morgan Riley, and then a full minute for the next group. What do you think about the idea of having equal opportunity for the two power play units?
Well, what was it? Separate but not equal? I don't know, whatever the politics were. So now sometimes, Justin, it's when's the appropriate time to make a change. So it could be sometimes a minute, could be $1.30 that you don't get that opportunity. But they were out generally, it seemed like a minute 45 a lot last year, minute 30 to minute 45. And that's a bit too long. So I would say cutting it back about 15 seconds on average would be about right. And certainly they're going for the quick strike. I like that. Like they had one chance, they got it to Matthews quick. That it seems the power play that very quickly they have some kind of whether design play or ultimately multiple plays to get and going for the quick strike. But saying that, and they'll get a chance to start the power play for about a minute 40 in the second period. The Montreal Canadiens scored on the power play and had a better power play than the Toronto Maple Leafs did. So, I mean, they didn't match what they did in that first minute, the Leafs, in the next 19. But just to ask about the power play philosophy, I just think like the longer I'd like to see a stat how many times you get a power play goal in the minute 30 to minute 45 range when you've been out there.
Yeah, I would like to see that too, because sometimes it takes a little while to establish just zone time, and it was discombobulated to say the least. Entering the zone, having possession, there were a couple chances, there were several shots, but it didn't feel like they really had the time to set up. And again, the top unit was coming off the ice very quickly. I agree with you. Maybe a minute 45 is too much, but I'm not sure how you could watch the Edmonton Oilers go all the way to the Stanley Cup final using their top guys for 2 minutes and having dominance. One of the most dominant power plays I've seen in my lifetime. And again, that's a lot of personnel, but it's also opportunity. They get the full 2 minutes, and they take advantage sometimes deep in that power play. The Oilers are not taking away those chances from their top guys. And just looking at it, like there's no way Max Pacioretty should have as much ice time as Austin Matthews on the power play in the first period, unless they're on the same unit, in my opinion. So that will definitely be one of the storylines heading into the post game, which Leafs Talk will take and run with it when we get there. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Get the official NHL app to watch, read, and listen to all the deeks.
All I can say is absolutely wow.
All the sauce. All the saves.
Stop from Vasilevsky.
All the hits. All the snipes. All the sellies.
He scores! Unbelievable!
All the hockey. If it's hockey, it's here. Listen to every NHL game for free, now with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Download the official NHL app now.
In football and in life, there are wins and losses. When you're facing hard times, having a team you can trust makes all the difference. For more than 65 years, Securian Canada's insurance and financial protection solutions have helped Canadians build secure tomorrows. We offer life and other insurance products through banks, credit unions, and associations. For more information, visit securiancanada.ca. Securian Canada. Insurance designed for life.
Let's hit it, team. Chicago Wednesday on City TV. I'm police. I'm doing my job. All new episodes. There's going to be changes around the firehouse. Chicago Med.
We need to rethink how this ED operates.
Fire.
There's something about the new chief. It's a little off.
And PD.
He almost died in that basement.
But I didn't die. I'm still here.
Chicago Med, Fire and PD. All new Wednesdays, 8/7 Central on City TV. Or stream it on City TV Plus.
We have a plan that's connecting Ontario. We're building new roads and highways like the Bradford Bypass and Highway 413 to shorten your daily commute by up to an hour. And adding more lanes to reduce gridlock on some of North America's busiest routes to keep you and our economy moving forward. Also, you can get around faster, safer, easier. See what we're building in your community at ontario.ca/builds. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in stock, ready to deliver, shipping and industrial supplies.
Cheers, Insiders. We made it. We made it to hockey season. It's opening night. NHL face-off tonight. The Maple Leafs travel to Montreal. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Tonight is a special night. We are running our Sick Kids Create 100K campaign, and the link is pinned in the chat. We want to make a big difference for Sick Kids Hospital tonight, and we do that every single live stream here on Toronto Sports Insider, as a percentage of our proceeds goes donated directly to Sick Kids every single month. You're making a difference just by being here as well, by seeing an ad. If you see something that you like, please click it and support the advertisers here on YouTube, as it does help our Sick Kids campaign. Now, let's get back to opening night. Go Leafs, go! Thank you for your support, and please help us create a bunch of donations for this Sick Kids campaign. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Changing the world, one insider at a time. Go Leafs, go!
And the Leafs Radio Network.
All right, welcome back into Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. The Maple Leafs trail the Montreal Canadiens 1-0 after 20 minutes in Game 1 of 82. It was Cole Caulfield with the goal, scoring for the first time while wearing the number 13 in honor of Johnny Gaudreau and the Gaudreau family. We talked about the power play for the Maple Leafs in the first period and how there might be some questionable decisions. At least we'll get there. We'll let it breathe a little bit. But I guess part of the story has to be drawing penalties. And Nick Robertson and Max Pacioretty combined to draw the two penalties that actually birthed two full minutes on the power play for the Maple Leafs to work with. I thought it was an impressive start for those two in that line specifically. I thought they were the best line, Holmberg, Robertson, and Pacioretty.
Yeah, they were. I agree with you. And, had some kind of scoring chances around that. And then you had a great energy shift from the fourth line late in the first period as well. So it's really, we talked at the start of the show that in some ways the Leaf lineup, not a lot of changes because they have the big guns and you want to keep the big guns. But if the big guns aren't firing, that's been the problem in the playoffs the last number of seasons, and that's the problem probably in the first 20 minutes. Mike Babcock was big on start on time, and they started on time tonight. So second period, get back and do that. You're on the power play again. The big guns are there. You should be the big line and start like you did that first 90 seconds in period number 1 before Domi took that penalty, and it just seemed to be the flow changed.
The NHL scoreboard is presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 18 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca. Only one other game ongoing at the moment. 5 games in total on the night. The Rangers have a 2-0 lead right now on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sidney Crosby beginning year 20. Sidney Crosby's beginning year number 20. Wow. That is absolutely unbelievable, but those are the facts. Still to come tonight, 2 all-Canadian matchups. The Winnipeg Jets will be in Edmonton to take on the Oilers. Calgary Flames and Vancouver Canucks, and also still to come another really good matchup, the Colorado Avalanche and the Vegas Golden Knights. You gave us a little bit of a taste of it there, what the Maple Leafs have to do in the second period. Defensively, they did yield a lot of shots. Is there something that didn't go right from the defensive standpoint?
Yeah, maybe a little sloppy at times, trying to be more cohesive, but really this is a team. You got to play in the offensive zone. That's the best kind of defense. It keeps the puck out of the defensive zone. They spent too much time there. Once Stolar's a bit of a miscommunication with the defenseman that led to a bit of a scoring chance. So, these things will come. I just think you're the better team. Full court press. That's going to be your strength, and that's going to be the key if they're able to turn it around. It's only 1-0, and tie the game up or get control of the game.
As Jim and Joe mentioned, the first goal for the Maple Leafs last season came from Noah Gregor in the second period of the opener. So maybe someone from the depths of the lineup can come through and repeat what happened last year. But the Maple Leafs will try to climb out of a 1-0 hole in the second period at the Bell Center. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hold the entire show. Hold the show.
When the sports world is talking, nobody gives you more perspectives than the experts of Sirius XM.
The New York Jets have fired head coach Robert Saleh. Wow.
Hear instant reaction on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This should have been done in the off-season.
And expert analysis on NFL Radio.
Aaron wants to do it Aaron's way. This reminds me of Favre and Mangini all over again.
Live sports talk when you need it on Sirius XM and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make...
All right, boys and girls, we're ready to get this second period started in just a few minutes. The Leafs. It's time, boys. Let's go, buds. Let's get it done. Let's show up. It's time. Time to score some goals. It's time to get back on track. It's the Habs, for God's sake. You guys dominated them in the rookie series. You dominated them in the preseason. Let's go, Leafs. Let's finish this strong in this second period. Let's take the lead back and jump in front. Cheers to everybody in the chat. Big shout outs. Po Buddies, Nerfict, good to see you. It's great to see you again. Kiara Lawapus, something. I don't even know. Where is the real show? The real show is right here. Thank you for being here. Listen in, hang out with us. We're supporting a great cause in Sick Kids Hospital right here in Toronto. And we're having some fun. So there you go. That's TSI Allison. There's the love of my life in the chat. I love you, babe. You're the best. Thank you for taking time to practice tonight for me to be able to hang out here with all of these awesome people in the chat. All right, we got Angela in here as well. Rod Bottomley, Mark Daigle, Dave Terpstra. Bunch of people hanging out. Louis Lamy as well, a Habs fan. Welcome. Good luck to your Habs, but not tonight. It's our night. And let's do this, Leafs fans. Oh, Grandma's calling. I got to jump back here. We'll see you guys in a little bit in the second period. Let's make some donations. The Sick Kids pin. That link is pinned in the chat. Hit that thing up. We need to get some donations in there tonight. Cheers, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. 44,000. Let's keep on pushing all the way up to 50,000. We're getting there next week. Back to the hockey. Go, Leafs, go. Big second period.
Doc at 7:48.
Cheers, my brothers. We made it. We made it to hockey season. It's opening night. NHL face-off tonight. The Maple Leafs travel to Montreal. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Tonight is a special night. We are running our Sick Kids Create 100K campaign, and the link is pinned in the chat.
Boy, that'd be a pretty good trivia question.
Pretty good list.
Sit down.
Pretty good list. Yep. Played through center ice. The Leafs start the period on the power play, but it's turned over, and the Canadiens have shot it out and down the ice.
That would Ron Wilson, I guess, been the last one before Berube?
I would think, yeah. Here's Matthews coming through center, dropping it off to Marner, who gets across the line. Nice pass back to Riley. On the wing it goes, and a shot rang off the side at me, glanced off the goalpost, and is caromed all the way down into the Leaf end. Nylander getting the shot away. Riley finds Matthews, who gains the zone. Tavares dropping it off, and now here's Willie working to the left wing half boards. Top of the circle, cross ice, far side for Marner. Fanned on a pass, gets it back again. Tavares back to the point. Here's Riley to Marner. Shot blocked, rebound, cracked at there by Tavares, but it was blocked and quickly sent down the ice again by Montreal with a half minute to go on the power play.
And nothing really clear cut, is there? Everything seems to be coming out of desperation. Canadians are doing a great job keeping the Leafs to the outside.
Max Domi comes through center. Gets across the line. Flipped in on the left wing for McCabe. He is unable to trap it with a skate. Canadians get a chance to clear, and they've done so, hammering it off the glass and down the ice. And the Leafs are going to be 0 for 3 on the power play here to start the season. 6 seconds remain in this one. Ekman-Larsson. A pass up ahead off Domi's stick. Brought in across the line by Pacioretty. Pacioretty to the right wing side. Domi didn't deliver a backhand. Goes into the corner. Centers in front. One-timer went off the side of the goal. Kept alive by Ekman-Larsson. Back of the net, it bounced away from Domi. Corralled by Jake Evans of the Canadiens, who will get it out at center. And it is Suzuki freeing it up, and then shot by Justin Barron back down into Toronto territory. Oliver Ekman-Larsson getting it ahead at center. Robertson is forced back. McCabe will play it ahead. Brought on now by Toronto. One-handed ahead then by the Maple Leafs Nylander, but he couldn't catch up to the puck, and it's right back down into the Toronto zone. Fed around back of the net, and Stollers will play into a far corner for McCabe. McCabe pounds it on the boards to get it ahead, and here comes Nylander out at center. Nifty move to gain the line. Works it on the right wing with a shot, and that went off the goal post and went wide. Benoit gets it right back to him, and Willie's got some jump to his stride here in this second period. Canadians get the puck, are able to get it down into the Toronto zone, and Tanev goes back behind the net, reversing it now for Benoit. Benoit plays it up on the wing for Robertson. Robertson's speed, looking for Pontus Holmberg, went too far, but off a Canadiens player. No icing, so the Canadiens have to work it off the boards, and Gallagher gets it to center before it is sent down into the Toronto end. Stollers out of the cage, trying to play it back, but it's blocked. The rebound came off to the side. Gallagher couldn't deliver a shot to the net. Stollers is able to scamper back into the cage. Canadians keep it in with a point shot that deflects wide. One-handed behind the net, Connor Timmins playing it, reversing the puck to find no one over on the far side. Canadians trying to get it back in, got a shot blocked, and it is played ahead, and Reeves will knife it down into the zone, and he'll get Lorenz into the forecheck, trying to get a hit in there as it's played by Montreal around the boards and out at center ice. Toronto back at its own blue line. Camp got it ahead, but Montreal comes back with it. In on the left wing for Josh Anderson. Stopped up at the far half boards. Played around back of the net. Maple Leafs Riley getting it to the line and just out at center, and Reeves is able to punch it just in across the blue line, but the Canadians regroup. Back in over the line with a nice pass in on a big save made by Stollers. A brilliant save made by Anthony Stollers off Dvorak, who cut in and cut across the goal crease, and the left hand of Anthony Stollers stops that.
Boy, Leafs' best chance of the period came off the rush. Willie Nylander ringing one off the post. But here, Christian Dvorak gets in behind the Leaf defense. Takes the puck going to the net from the right wing side, tries to reverse it, go forehand, backhand, but Stollers stays with him and throws the glove up to keep it out.
McCabe
Cheers,
gets the puck
Insiders.
to center.
We made it.
Nice
We
into
made
the
it to
forecheck.
hockey
The
season.
goaltender
It's
played it
opening
away
night.
from him. They
NHL
collide
face-off
back of the
tonight.
goal.
The Maple
Now
Leafs
it's Marner
travel to
bouncing
Montreal.
puck for
Thank you
Nyes,
all for
looking in
hanging
front
out
for
with us.
Matthews, and the
Tonight
puck
is a
was knocked
special
away.
night. We
Nyes
are
with it
running
again
our
in front.
sick kid.
Marner dishes off on the left wing. Ekman Larson closing, and the shot went off the shoulder of Montembeault and went wide. Marner with the puck again. Marner dropping it off. Wrist shot coming, blocked in front. Marner wrap around. No, he could have wrapped it around. Had time. Then a shot from the slot area is knocked down by the glove of Montembeault. Did he not have time to put that puck in the net?
Well, it looked like it, didn't it?
It did. Played down into the Canadiens' end. Matthews was racing after it. Canadiens come away with it, and it's brought out at center ice. Canadiens get in across the line with a long shot that went wide of the goal. They trap it on the far wall, now trying to work in against Tavares. And Matthews, or at least Nylander, couldn't come up with it. And then Domi played it back to his defenseman, and Tanev had to scamper back to try to gain possession. And now Tavares is trying to fight for a foot of ice to get it out over the line. And they finally do, but then Domi got rocked with a hit. And he's back up on his skates after taking a pretty good blow there right at the blue line. Kept alive by Hudson now for the Canadiens. Hudson looking in front, still with it. A pass to the left wing side, and a one-timer taken on the far wing by Evans was blocked by Stollers. At the point, another shot doesn't make it through. Domi ties up his man, and a long lead pass looking for Tavares went off his stick. Canadiens goaltender has played it out at center. Back in comes Montreal. Gallagher into the slot. Nifty move, got a shot away, and Stollers stood firm there and got the glove down. And now Nylander was taken down, or Robertson was taken down without a penalty. Robertson back in over the line. Robertson gets a drop pass from Pontus Holmberg. Pontus Holmberg then tried to get a return feed, only to have it taken away from him. He recovers it and sends it down into Montreal territory. 1-0 in favor of the Canadiens. Coming up on 7 minutes played in the second. Right wing side for Barron. Shot off the side of the goal. Better period for the Leafs here thus far, I would suggest, as it slipped down into Montreal territory. Although both teams have had good scoring chances, and Stollers has had to make an outstanding save. Stollers playing the puck into the corner. Riley sends it around looking for his defense partner. Now Riley goes in after it, was knocked down on the play. Tanev comes back, centering pass, paddled down there nicely by Stollers, and out come the Maple Leafs to center. Lorenz, a bouncing shot in front of the goal for Reeves. Oh my, what a chance he had. But I think he was more shocked that the puck came to him than anybody in the rink.
Well, it was just dumped in, and Montembeault, the Canadiens goaltender, just kind of bunted it back to the Leaf forward, who threw it across to Reeves. And I think that's where the surprise was.
Yeah, here the Canadiens back in. Poke checked off a stick. Leafs play it off the boards through center. Bounces in over the line. Left wing side. Nice. Got a shot away, but it was 5 feet wide of the net and has come all the way back to center ice. Leafs were close to having too many men on the ice, and maybe that was too close.
It's either going to be an early change or early substitution, or it's going to be a too many men on the ice penalty. That looks, from the reaction of Craig Berube, that the Leafs are going to be shorthanded.
So something that really was a problem last year was too many men on the ice, and it rears its ugly head again here. Third power play coming up for Montreal. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Visit connexontario.ca.
As fall approaches and birds head south, a different kind of bird emerges, the Subaru. While migratory flocks seek warmth, Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive keeps drivers soaring through the wild. During the migrating season, Subaru's hunger for adventure grows exponentially, driving the intrigued radio listeners to fall for Subaru at their local Subaru dealerships, experiencing an adventure of their own. So migrate to your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
Craig. Craig likes it warm. Craig loves 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Craig doesn't understand Fahrenheit. But Craig does like to save money when he's at work. Craig also cares about his carbon footprint. He's so thoughtful, that Craig.
With SmartFlow from Enbridge Sustain, you won't have to think about your HVAC, but it will always be thinking of you. For a limited time, sign up and get up to $1,000 in bill credits and apply for up to $3,000 in rebates. Learn more at EnbridgeSustainSmartFlow.com. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Here's a chance in front for Cam, trying to get in front of Vlad. He scores!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Not sure yet whether the Leafs have been given a penalty for too many men on the ice.
So it was the reaction of Berube. Seemed like the Leafs might be short end. No, I don't think it was. They might be just calling it
they
early
initially on our screen showed that a penalty had been called, but it apparently is not. So I'll just strike that right
I think it was Matthews. Austin Matthews was the one going off when the puck hit his skate. And we got the immediate whistle and assumed there was going to be a penalty over it.
Puck down in the Montreal zone. Matthews back of the goal. Couldn't get a bouncing disc to behave. And the Canadiens get it out at center. Caulfield trying to play it in over the line. Kicks it in over the line and got it down into the corner. And Ekman Larsson is there to play it back to Jake McCabe, who gets it ahead. And here's Matthews getting it out. But his pass for Marner didn't connect. Canadiens right back in on the right wing side with Suzuki. Suzuki is taken down and a penalty is coming to Ekman Larsson. This time we can see the hand up in the air. And Ekman Larsson is going to get the penalty, and the Canadiens will go to their third power play.
He's coming in now. Ekman Larsson gets a visitor. That was on Suzuki that he got the stick up. And now it's Slafkovsky, of all people, who tried to show a little muscle in the preseason, that has come in and gone after Ekman Larsson. But it looks like Montreal will this time go on the power play here.
8:32, the time of the infraction.
Want to hear an incredible stat? You know who has the most points of any player drafted by the Vegas Golden Knights? Nick Suzuki, who was traded, ironically, for Max Pacioretty. Never played a game for Vegas, but he has a Vegas draft pick, 286 points. Sorry, points. What did I say? Games or points?
No, points.
Yeah, 286 points. Next are Cody Glass and Nicholas Hague with 71.
There you go. Canadiens have had 5 shots on the power play in the first 2, and a goal by Caulfield that has them out in front. 1-0 was scored with the man advantage. Suzuki taking the draw, won cleanly by the Maple Leafs, but not correctly, apparently. So they're going to have to do it all over again. And Pontus Holmberg.
Yeah, it's the linesman
pointing at the Canadiens, I thought there. So
standing by the Montreal bench. He's the one that blew the whistle early.
And Suzuki has been waved out. So the Leafs get a double whammy there. They win the faceoff, even though Suzuki wasn't doing it correctly, but now have to do it all over again. And they win the draw this time. Tanev is able to get it freed up. And on the far wing, it'll be banked off the boards and sent out and down the ice. Pontus Holmberg takes a little flyby, but out come the Canadiens with the puck. Matheson dropping it back. Brought on by Suzuki as he hits the line to get it in on the left wing to Caulfield. Caulfield knocked it around back of the net. A penalty coming to Toronto again.
And
Suzuki had his skates knocked out from underneath him by Jake McCabe. And for the first time this year, it is going to be a 5-on-3. 6 times. A year ago, the Leafs were 2 men short. They gave up 2 goals over that time period. And McCabe gets the tripping call.
For McCabe, trying to follow Suzuki in behind the Leaf net. But this is an automatic as he turns, gets his stick blade ready to the skate blades of the Montreal forward. Down went Suzuki. And a minute 34 with a 5-on-3 for Montreal.
So a big opportunity here for the Canadiens. Leading 1-0 already. 2-man advantage. Pontus Holmberg will take the face-off against Suzuki. Suzuki down to a knee. I thought that might have been handled, but no. And the Canadiens control the puck. Back to the point it comes. Suzuki takes it on the right wing side. Looks in front. Goes back to the blue line. Walking the line there is Matheson. Back to Suzuki. A shot and a glove save made by Stollers. And he looked rather authoritative in snapping that left hand out to take it away.
Well, Cole Caulfield has the only goal of the game and came out of power play in the first period. And he's the guy, Joe, that you see Suzuki let it go here. But Caulfield is still going to be the guy they're going to try to get it to in the left wing circle. Look for that one-timer again. Similar to what
Holmberg, instead of trying to draw the puck back, slapped it forward and got a break there, knocking it down into the Canadiens' end. Montreal back in over the line. Setting up on the left wing, back to Matheson, to Caulfield over on the left side. Back to the blue line for Doc. Kirby Doc works to the circle on the right wing side. Tried to center. That went off a body and went wide. Canadiens with it again. 50 seconds in the first penalty. Here's Caulfield back to the blue line. Walking the line was Matheson. Back to Doc. Doc into the circle. Far side to Caulfield. Back it goes. The pass knocked away, and the Leafs are able to get to it off the boards and send it down the ice.
Well, a smart play by Simon Benoit. Just a one-timer off a ricochet from right in behind the Leaf goal.
Marner knocks the puck away and is able to poke it out and down the ice. 23 seconds left in the first penalty. Big part of the game unfolding right here. Caulfield in on the left wing. Drops it back into the half boards. Looking in front of the net. Caulfield goes there. Puck goes back to the point. Matheson to Doc. Doc down low. Still looking. Back to Doc once more. Top of the circle. Doesn't shoot it. Off on the wing near side. Trying to get Gouli a chance. The pass goes free. Barboulay looking for it. And the Leafs have intercepted and played it out. And out of the penalty box is Ekman Larsson. He's in alone. Knocked down and smothered by Montembeault. The Leafs almost were blessed with a glorious chance to tie the game. Out of the penalty box came Oliver Ekman Larsson. And he was away to the races.
But boy, again, hindsight being 20/20. He could have taken that to the net more. And for whatever reason, the direction he took, once he got over the line, left-handed shot, was to almost go away from the net to the right wing circle.
And change the angle to a bad one, right?
Yeah. Ekman Larsson, a defenseman coming out of the penalty box. I think the important thing was he got it on net. You miss the net and the rebound comes back the other way, you're in some trouble.
Chasing. Yep.
So I think that's kind of the veteran move, is make sure, regardless, obviously you're trying to score, but make sure you get it on net.
Well, the Leafs penalty kill has to be better this year, and that was a severe test. And how many times did they get it out and into neutral ice or down the ice when they were two men short? I don't think the Canadiens got a shot on goal when they were on the two-man advantage. Played along the boards. Camp starts out for Toronto. David Camp got it ahead. Chipped in over the line. And a delayed offside. The Leafs aren't going to be able to get to it. The Canadiens have to go back and regroup. Brought on by Lane Hudson. Got it to the Leaf blue line. Across the line. Trying to cut in was Barré-Boulet. That was broken up. Leafs punch it in on the left wing for Nylander. Nylander bulls his way around back of the goal. Nylander with it to the far half boards. Now back to the blue line. Another little stutter step, and here he comes again. Backhand pass in front of the goal. Knocked away. Comes back to the point to Riley. Riley to Tanev. Back to Willie. Nylander shoots. Big rebound in front of the net, and Domi couldn't get his stick on it. Tavares against the boards. Domi trying to help out. Tavares works it clean. Back of the net to Domi. Bank pass back to the point. Tanev's wrist shot deflected by Tavares and went wide. Tanev will get it again, and as he tries to get it back to Nylander, it's going to slide all the way back into the Leaf end. Nylander got it ahead. Riley pushes it up on the wing for Tavares. Tavares ahead for Nyes. Nyes across the line. Leafs in the middle of a change. Nyes getting it back to the blue line to Riley. Riley off on the wing. It comes. A shot by McCabe was blocked. The rebound in front. Nyes doesn't deliver. Then he does. And it went off the shoulder of Montembeault up into the screen and out of play. Pretty good chance there. Orchestrated by Nyes. It is a 1-0 Montreal lead. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Take your love of 80s music to the max.
For sure. Like, totally.
With new wave and 80s alternative on First Wave, Channel 33. Fill
Cheers, Insiders. We made it. We made it to hockey season. It's opening night. NHL face-off tonight. The Maple Leafs travel to Montreal. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Tonight is a special night. We are running our Sick Kids Create 100K campaign, and the link is pinned in the chat. We want to make a big difference for Sick Kids Hospital tonight, and we do that every single live stream here on Toronto Sports Insider, as a percentage of our proceeds goes donated directly to Sick Kids every single month. You're making a difference just by being here as well, by seeing an ad. If you see something that you like, please click it and support the advertisers here on YouTube, as it does help our Sick Kids campaign. Now, let's get back to opening night. Go Leafs, go. Thank you for your support, and please help us create a bunch of donations for this Sick Kids campaign. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Changing the world, one insider at a time. Go Leafs, go.
To win a Stanley Cup, and that, at a minimum, is what the Los Angeles Kings need to do.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson, for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
the Leafs Radio Network.
Joe Bone along with Jim Ralph. Maple Leafs trailing 1-0. Armin Zagarian running the operation. Andrew Adams and Nicholas Blackmore pushing buttons. Some of them work, some of them don't. Every once in a while, they get it right.
Like us.
Yes, sort of like us, yeah. 7 minutes and 33 seconds left to go in the second period, and the power play goal by Cole Caulfield has stood the test of time. Both goaltenders have been excellent. Pass in front to backhand off the post by Matthews. Twice the Leafs have hit the iron. Back of the goal, it comes to Marner in the near corner. Marner back to the point. One-timer by Riley. That was deflected wide. Tanev punching it around back to the net, out of the reach of Nyes. Nyes gets back into it. It comes back into the slot, but there's Suzuki for the Canadiens. He'll get to, well, close to center and shoot it in. Thought that was from the other side, personally. Matthews sidesteps a hit. Gets down in after it into the corner. Swept along by Matheson. Matheson gets it ahead, and Suzuki starts down the right wing. Suzuki in across the Toronto line. Nicely out, knocked out of the air there by Marner, and he'll get it out at center, misfiring on a pass for Nyes. Leafs are changing, so are the Canadiens. Puck stolen back by Nyes. Pushed ahead for Pontus Holmberg. Shot blocked. Holmberg after a rebound, but couldn't get to it. And the Canadiens sent it around the boards in their own zone. Cut off by the Leafs, and back to the point it comes. Near side Benoit. Dropping it back, and unable to handle it there was Marner, but he has to go back to recover the puck and has it back up on the left wing for Benoit. Benoit ringing the boards with it. Down goes Pacioretty. Pacioretty still holds, gets it back to the point. Ekman Larsson holds, got a shot away, but it was partially blocked and deflected high in the air. And the Canadiens knife it out at center, and Joel Armia gets down, and then pretty good tackle. Actually, the Alouettes could use that guy, as that was an excellent tackle on Holmberg. Is it a penalty?
The back official make the call.
But is it Pacioretty going to the box? Well, we can't see the penalty box, so we can't tell
somebody's getting something.
Well, the crowd's reacting, so I'm assuming that it is a Toronto penalty.
Boy, Matthews with a great opportunity. Spins on the backhand in front of the Montreal net, but off the crossbar and out. And I guess we'll have to get back to
sort it out when we come back. It is 1-0 Montreal. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses, with customer service reps on the line to get you what you need.
What's up, Insiders? All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Leafs to get this going. All right, come on, buds. Let's go. 1-0 down to Montreal. It's time to start scoring some goals. It's the regular season now, boys. Let's go. Let's go. All right, we got Fuji in the house. Big Jam Roll. Great to see you. Sick Kids. Man, we got to get some movement over there on the Sick Kids campaign, the Fall Drive campaign. I know times are tough. Trust me. I got a hurricane hitting the office right now as we speak. Thank you all for hanging out with us, and please click this link. If you can't donate, please share it out. Let's get some more donations for Sick Kids. I'm pulling up the list here right now from my buddy Jordan at Sick Kids to get the all-time list. We're currently sitting at number 11 all-time on the list. So we're just behind Testy FPS. We're about 125 Canadian away from passing into the top 10 of all time for Sick Kids donations for creators. Let me see if I can pull this up here on the chat once we get back to the hockey. Maybe during intermission, I'll add this in here so we can let's do something fun here. Come on, Toronto, where are you? I can't hear it, but I can see it in the chat. Come on, Toronto, let's make a difference for Sick Kids. $2, $5, $10, anything would be huge. Sick Kids is an unbelievable place in Toronto, and it is so near and dear to my heart, and I'm sure a lot of you all as well. Let's go back to the hockey. Cheers, everybody. Go Leafs, go. Cheers, Insiders. We made it. We made it.
Raised the shoulder of David Savard. But the Leafs shorthanded now for the 5th time already in this game.
And the 3rd time in this period, and had to fend off a minute 34 of a 2-man advantage.
And this comes at a time, too, when they were starting to press and get some momentum.
Shot back down into the Toronto zone. Against the boards. Lorenz unable to get to it. Canadians trap it at the blue line. Near side for Kirby Dach. A pass across. Bounced over a couple of sticks, and when it came back out in front, fortuitously for the Maple Leafs, it bounced over 2 more sticks.
Well, Jake McCabe might have had a little stick lift in there as well as the puck headed out towards the front of the Leaf net.
Matheson dropping it back. Brought on by Suzuki. In across the line. Played back for Suzuki. It goes into an empty corner. Benoit arrives there first. And first is best because he has wiped it out and down the ice. Canadians were a differential of minus 26 in specialty teams a year ago. Obviously an area of concern for Martin St-Louis. At the point, Canadians keeping it in on the right wing side. Barré-Boulet, a cross ice pass doesn't work. Armia getting it back to the blue line. Again, Barré-Boulet, a deflection in front of the goal went wide. Around the boards, it'll come to Barré-Boulet again. Just kept in at the blue line. Saucered off on the left wing side. Canadians looking for Gallagher in front. A shot kicked away by Stollers. Grabbed off by Barré-Boulet once more. He'll work down the right wing board, centering in front. That was stopped again on the short side. It comes back into the slot. Looking back towards the blue line for Hudson. And it is intercepted by Nyes. And Nyes is going to get it out into neutral ice.
Boy, that was a trip.
Canadians right back in again. It rolls in on goal. Tipped away by Stollers. Grabbed off by the Maple Leafs and racing down the left wing now is Laurent or Marner. Marner in, and the shot went off the pad of Montembeault.
Boy, how there was no penalty when Nyes got taken down inside the Leaf line. He would have been off possibly in a shorthanded rush. Got tripped up and no call.
Leafs are back at full and even strength with 3:37 to go in what has been a scoreless second period and still a 1-0 Montreal lead. Has Mitch Marner been noticeable tonight?
He's had some moments, hasn't
has he ever? Here's Reeves working in over the line. Chips it around the boards. No one there except Riley, who arrived a little bit late. And the puck squirts by him to center ice. Ekman Larsson backpedaling with it, going around back of the net, then stops up. Here's the veteran coming out of his own zone. Stanley Cup winner a year ago in Florida. Nice bank pass finds Matthews, and he got a shot away that was deflected wide. Matthews in the far corner. 69 goals a year ago. Back it goes, and a shot taken there at the blue line by McCabe was blocked. Back to Matthews in the slot. Dished off once more. A wrist shot then by Ekman Larsson. Backhand in front. That went off the goal post as well, says the official. 3 times the Leafs have hit iron thus far in the contest.
And all of them here in the second.
Leafs again with Nylander. Off the bench, around back of the goal. Willie works back towards the blue line. Now a cross-ice pass. One-timer on the far side delivered by Tavares. Stopped by Montembeault. Canadiens get it out. Leafs have had 29 shots and 3 goal posts. Nylander got it ahead for Domi. Domi saucers it ahead, looking for Tavares. That didn't connect. Canadiens will shoot it in off a skate, and Benoit has to go into the corner after it as the puck comes free. Timmins takes his man down. Benoit with the loose puck to get it into the corner, and now brought out at center ice, and Nylander will skate to center. Nylander in on the right side, and the linesman says that was offside, and it'll be brought back into the center ice area.
Well, shots on goal have now hit the 30 mark. From a Leaf standpoint, 19 for Montreal. And it takes me back 30 shots and 3 posts in the game for the Leafs. Takes me back to that saying, and I love the saying from Ron Wilson because it's true about hockey. He said, we can't control whether we win or lose, only how well we play. And there you see, I mean, it could be 3-1 Toronto.
Yep.
Right now. You know, they survive a 5-on-3 against. They've been better 5-on-5. The Leafs have been dominant here in the second period.
It's an astute observation. I would have used it as your own as opposed to crediting Ron Wilson.
No.
Why wouldn't you come up with it?
Because there would have been some new stat comes out that proves I was wrong. Actually, that's not true.
No, according to analytics,
yes.
Even if you play horrible, you still can win.
Wins below expected. Craig Berube, like we said, Noah Gregor got things started a year ago in the fourth line for the Leafs, but that was midway through the second period that Gregor scored. The Leafs still looking for goal number 1 of this 2024-25 regular season.
Leafs win the faceoff in neutral ice. Morgan Rielly steps in over the line, flipped it in, then went after it, then decided to turn back. Canadiens will regroup it back of their own goal. Minute 27 to go in the second period. A scoreless second period and a 1-0 Montreal lead. Canadiens get a lead pass into neutral ice, and across the line comes Newhook. Alex Newhook into the corner, broken up by the Leafs, and fed out into neutral ice. Robertson unable to reach it. Canadiens backpedal and play it through center and deflected down into the Toronto end. No, apparently not. Not from the right side of center ice, says the linesman. So an important face-off with a minute 5 to go coming up in the offensive zone. Max Pacioretty still holds something that is kind of interesting. Most NHL goals scored by a Montreal Canadien since 2008-9. Pacioretty has 226. Gallagher has 218.
Yeah, those
so
the numbers
fact
for
that
Gallagher.
He hasn't been there for a while either. Yeah.
Gallagher's numbers have fallen over the last few years after some injury-riddled seasons.
Leafs win the face-off, back to the point. Matthews to the front of the net, but the pass was knocked away. Canadiens, Armia gets it out at center and then plays it around the boards into the far corner where Jake McCabe comes up with it. Rink wide to find Ekman Larsson. Played ahead for Marner. Backhanded in over the line. Matthews strides in there after it, but Matheson for the Canadiens played it along the boards. Got it back for Evans, and Evans will get it out to the line, and he's standing his man up there with a pretty good hit was McCabe. Ekman Larsson. Banned on a pass. Canadiens take advantage by getting it into the zone. Backhand down into the corner. Matthews took his man down, and the crowd hollering for a penalty, but none coming. Long lead pass. Leafs get across the line. Left wing feed now for Ekman Larsson. Sent towards the net. That went off Gallagher, who was stationed in front. Sent back of the goal with 9 seconds left in the period. And the Canadiens, with a glance at the clock, will try to take the lead to the dressing room as Matheson gets it down into the Toronto zone to run out the time. No scoring in the second period. The Maple Leafs have 30 shots on goal to the 20 of the Canadiens after 40 minutes, but it is a goal by Caulfield from Slavkovsky and Doc on the power play that is on the board.
And impressive to me, period, for the Leafs. They outshoot Montreal 13-6. They hit 3 posts, and Montreal was 0 for 3 in the power play. So 5-on-5 from a Leaf standpoint, they were dominant, and they were fortunate to, at least for now, survived the Montreal Canadiens power play.
Well, we will see what the third period brings about. Gord Stellick and Justin Cuthbert standing by. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Now through November 1st, SiriusXM is giving away a pair of tickets to every MLB postseason game through the World Series. Listen to MLB Network Radio for the clues and be the first caller to correctly name the postseason hero, and you'll receive a pair of tickets to an MLB postseason game. MLB Network Radio has your chance to win on SiriusXM 89 and the all-new SiriusXM app. No transportation will be included in connection with these prizes. For full contest information and official rules, visit SiriusXM.com/MLB postseason heroes. No purchase necessary. Open only to current SiriusXM subscribers prior to September 22nd. Must be a U.S. resident over the age of 18.
On and off the ice.
Steven Stamkos. You wonder, is that it for him with the Tampa Bay Lightning? He's the guy that's probably, with Marty St. Louis and Vinny Lecavalier, recognized as the all-time greatest Tampa Bay Lightning players. This is all about deciding whether or not the price is going to be right to keep your captain around and potentially keep him a Tampa Bay Lightning member for his entire career.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them because they'll make you lose.
What's up, insiders? All right, there it is. There's the Sick Kids leaderboard right there. I got to turn this down. Listening to the game, getting all excited down here. Come on, buds. It's time to get this going. What the hell? Down 1-0. Let's get it going. Here is the leaderboard for Sick Kids right over there. For Sick Kids all-time donations from the Create 100K and the Creators section of donations for Sick Kids Hospital. There we are, ladies and gentlemen. Right down in the bottom corner there. Number 11. Toronto Sports Insider, $3,045 raised for Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. And after the $300 or so that we've done so far in this fall drive, that will put us up to 10th. Close, 9th. Let's see, we might be into close to 8th place once all is said and done after this donation round. So, if you haven't done so already, insiders, please make a small donation to our Sick Kids Fall Drive campaign, or at least just share the link out to the Sick Kids campaign drive. Please, that's all I'm asking. Let's get some donations over to Sick Kids Hospital. We know the work that they do here. Toronto fans, you know Sick Kids Hospital. It's the best hospital, hands down. The kids, the amazing work that they do there. I don't have to say any more. You all know. So please check out that link. Let's make some donations. I want to recognize them live on air. And going for this third period, I am matching every donation personally. I will match every single donation made tonight to Sick Kids Hospital through our Tiltify campaign through this link. All right? So make it happen, Leafs fans. Let's get back to the intermission. I got to go refill the cocktail. It's getting light here. Cheers, everybody. Big third period. Go Leafs, go.
We need to be an aggressive team, an entertainment team, because we are USA and the culture is about to win.
Hear more from Mauricio Pochettino on the SiriusXM app. Just search FC.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. The Maple Leafs have 30 shots and 3 posts through 2 periods, but trail the Montreal Canadiens 1-0 after 40 minutes in the opening game of the 2024-2025 season. It was a better period offensively and overall for the Maple Leafs, but still nothing doing, Gord, on Samuel Montembeault.
Well, 3 posts, that's a goaltender's best friend, so Montembeault benefited from that. You know, my song selection are old songs, but the Rolling Stones, Start Me Up.
Okay.
That's this game. And I want to say it to the officials, will you let them start? I'm going to be the old Gord now. Will you let them play? Some of these penalties, I know we used to call them chintzy. I know nowadays chintzy is a penalty. I know things have evolved and changed, but man, you just can get no flow to this game. There's so many so many penalties are being called, which I think hurts the Maple Leafs, because when the flow goes, and the few times we've seen them, especially their elite players like flying, you can see the difference there. So, by the way, I kept track of this stat closely last season, and Armin just made sure I was updated on it. So the Toronto Maple Leafs have one of the longest streaks, the longest current streak, and one of the longest since NHL history, 227 consecutive games without being shut out. Regular season games. The records for the Calgary Flames in the early 1980s, 264 consecutive games. The Leafs are 37 consecutive games behind that. But I mean, you hope this isn't the hill they die on tonight.
Yeah.
That record goes by the wayside. I gotta think it won't be. But yeah, nothing doing offensively. Stolarz has been great, but they had more chances. They had more chances this time, and they had the posts. But man, oh man, let's get some flow instead of the penalty box.
You beat Jim Ralph to that stat, because whenever the Maple Leafs are being shut out for a prolonged period of time, Jim Ralph always has that one in the holster. Yeah, you're right about the power plays. Like, I'm not sure, like, they're awful calls. I'm not sure that there should have been, decidedly less. But each team's had over 5 minutes on the power play. Maple Leafs have 6, so they've had 3 minor penalties to work with and nothing really doing. We talked a lot about the power play in the first intermission, so let's look at the penalty kill for a second. I found it interesting that the top 2 penalty killers for the Maple Leafs in terms of choice for Craig Berube and company, Steven Lawrence and Pontus Holmberg. Interesting, because those 2 guys were not necessarily assured a spot on this team coming in. Lawrence on a PTO and Pontus Holmberg fighting for a role in the bottom 6. But if they're the top 2 choices, it does say something about the internal battle that continues in the bottom 6 as guys jockey for position and make sure that they have the utmost utility for this coaching staff.
Well, and by the way, yeah, the 2-man short, that was impressive. They killed a 2-man. They were 2-man short for like almost a minute 50. So that was a real impressive stretch there. I don't think they certainly didn't give up a scoring chance on that. So that was the impressive PK. But Brad Treliving has said, Justin, and when you're one of the better teams, it should be this way, that we got a lot of bodies and not enough seats. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like you're waiting at the gate. Will Justin Cuthbert and Gord Stellick please approach the desk? Oh, thank God, we're going to get on that flight, right? I mean, that's kind of what and they like it that way. They like it that way, that there's a bit of an edge in that regard. But yeah, if you're going to be battling all season long. Bobby McMahon battled to make the roster last year and become a regular player, and he's a healthy scratch tonight. And that'll be kind of the mix that in the manner it goes. But I thought that was the most impressive because that could have been the easy 2-0 goal, a long 2-man advantage for the Montreal Canadiens, and I thought that was the best the Leafs played.
David Kampf did play a lot on the penalty kill, but just as his future has been kind of questioned here with the Maple Leafs as the cap crunch looms and continues to hang over this team indefinitely. Yeah, David Kampf's future and his value to this team. I mean, you'd think he'd be the top penalty killer, but not at this point in the game. Those penalties did yield a moment of comic relief. It won't be so funny if the Maple Leafs do get shut out in this game, but Oliver Ekman-Larsson, at the end of one of his penalties, at the end of the 5-on-3 opportunity for the Montreal Canadiens, had a breakaway, basically skated towards the corner and got a low percentage look on Montembeault. It was an interesting moment. It is funny in the moment, but we'll see if it rears its ugly head here.
Because OEL, I mean, he has some decent offense, and I always talk about it. Like when you're doing the game, when you're at the game watching that, you don't want to have a penalty, but when the guy comes out of the box for a few seconds, he's the most dangerous individual on the ice because he's fresh and he gets the puck, and it's a little bit of surprise factor. And all that happened, except he looked tired. I don't know, was he riding a bike in the penalty box, or was there an exercise bike there? He looked like he was out of gas, and he veered right where he didn't have to. And I'm sure they counted it as a chance, but it was a lukewarm chance compared to it should have been a glorious scoring chance.
Yeah, it looked like me in minor hockey. Not so comfortable having an opportunity like that on the blade of my stick. Okay, let's take a break. We'll be back for a little more analysis after 40 minutes with the Maple Leafs trailing the Montreal Canadiens. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Oh, Maya. She loves being cool. 21 degrees is her favorite number. God, she's the coolest, especially at night. So I raise the temp at 10 p.m. because she gets chilly when she sleeps. Maya loves using less energy, and I love Maya. We're basically besties.
With SmartFlow from Enbridge Sustain, you won't have to think about your HVAC, but it will always be thinking of you. With smart controls and zero upfront costs. Visit EnbridgeSustainSmartFlow.com to learn more.
Fall for Subaru by enjoying fall to the fullest. Think scarlet, burgundy, amber, crimson and copper, but never, never blue. Because with Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, fall is for thick, dark mud splats, terracotta mountain roads, radiant sunsets, kaleidoscopic leaf carpets, and the boldest of adventures. Avoid autumn blues and visit your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
Sportsnet 590 The Fan is your destination for Canadian football. Be listening Thursday mornings for a look at the games to come and Monday mornings for a recap of all the action. Get up to date with the Canadian Football Report, brought to you by Securian Canada, the official life insurance partner of the CFL. For more than 65 years, Securian Canada's insurance solutions have been helping Canadians build secure tomorrows. For more information, visit securiancanada.ca.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
This fall, stream the biggest games and live events on Sportsnet Plus. NHL. Are you watching this? MLB postseason. Soaring into history. NBA. Oh my goodness. He's done it. UFC. An absolute stunner. And more. Unbelievable. Holy cow. Stream hundreds of games and live events every month, anywhere on any device. Catch all the action this fall starting at $19.99 a month. Subscribe now at sportsnetplus.ca.
NHLshop.ca, the official online store of the National Hockey League, and Canada's largest selection of officially licensed NHL fan gear. With unique one-of-a-kind designs by Fanatics, and all the latest styles for every NHL team. Don't miss out. Shop now and get today's special offer. NHLshop.ca, a Fanatics experience.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Maxwell Domi! And the Leafs have a 5-1 lead.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back into Molson Leafs hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. The Montreal Canadiens lead the Toronto Maple Leafs 1-0 after 40 minutes. 30 shots, as mentioned, in those three posts. Matthews had a post. Nylander had a post. Marner had one of the better rush chances of the period, but Gord not enough from those three yet.
No, and they got a ton of shot attempts as well, but, that's not good if they don't go through. But you mentioned the post. We saw glimmers. We saw Nylander once just owning it when he controls. But that reminds me of the great Montreal Canadiens teams, probably before you were born, but that's what they did. I mean, Guy Lafleur and Kyle, they came and just owned the puck and just skated rings around you, whether you were the Toronto Maple Leafs or pretty well every other opponent. And you see that in brief snippets, what the Leafs are capable of doing more so than pretty well most of the other 31 teams, certainly the Montreal Canadiens.
It kind of feels, though, like it did last year in the postseason where, it looks pretty good at times, but the meaningful chances, there have been a couple flurries. And again, those posts, we're singing a different song here if one of those goes in, but it does feel perimeter.
Oh, yeah. So, Justin, with the start, it's a whole new regular season. The good news is Joe Woll's healthy. Oops. No, he's not. Just like the playoffs finished. Okay, the good news, fire wagon hockey. No, they couldn't score last year. Scoring goals was a problem, and scoring goals a problem so far. I know it's game one. I know it's 40 minutes, but come on. let's put the playoffs behind and let's get more of the barnstorming Maple Leafs out there.
That's fair, but it was supposed to be, less perimeter under Craig Berube. But a lot of time to fix that over the course of a regular season and tonight with the third period looming. The NHL scoreboard is presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit ConnexOntario.ca. Again, only one other game ongoing. The New York Rangers are thumping the Pittsburgh Penguins. Alexis Lafreniere scored an absolute beauty. So 4-0 Blue Shirts in Pittsburgh at the moment. That is late second period. Still to come tonight, a trio of games beginning at 10 p.m. Winnipeg will be in Edmonton to take on the Stanley Cup finalists, Calgary and Vancouver, and then Colorado and Vegas. We got about a minute here. It's too early, right? For we're not doing trash cans, but is Craig Berube animated right now?
No, I think he'd be controlled right now. I think those have to be, you have to pick your spots, and there are some positives. One is, again, we talked about the way they came out the first minute of the game, and then Max Domi took a penalty in the neutral zone in minute 30 in, and let's focus on that kind of play. Stay out of the penalty box. A lot of Connor Timmins didn't need to take that either, and it just seems to take the flow out of it. So just try to stay out of the penalty box, full court press, take some more shots, try to find some lanes, keep it simple. And I know that sounds simple, but sometimes it is the right way to go, and we'll see if that happens. So I no, there's no tirade, I don't think, in Craig Berube right now. Probably some stern talking to, or just about hey, let's kind of get serious. Let's get our heads back in the game. Let's take control of this, and let's see what happens.
Maybe a chance for the new captain to at least have a pep talk in the second intermission. Joe Bowen and Jim Raff will have the call of the third period next. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hockey is back, and the NHL on Sirius XM sounds like this.
Score! Connor McDavid off the rush, set up by Hyman.
And this.
The Panthers have won the Stanley Cup for the first time. Yeah!
Hear every NHL game all season long on Sirius XM and the hometown announcers on the Sirius XM app, and talk about the day-to-day drama of the hockey season on NHL Network Radio, Channel 91.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
No one keeps you closer to U.S. soccer than Sirius XM FC.
We're now joined by U.S. men's national team head coach Mauricio Pochettino.
The country is about to compete, to win, and to give everything. What we need to translate to the fans, we need to be protagonists, we need to be aggressive team, an entertainment team, because we are USA and the culture is about to win.
Hear more from Mauricio Pochettino on the Sirius XM app. Just search FC.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM. The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM. Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Leafs Radio Network.
Leafs trail the Montreal Canadiens 1-0 as Sam Montembeault attempts to do something that hasn't been done to the Maple Leafs since Christian Jarry, November 20th, 2021.
Or 2020.
Oh, 20.
Yeah, 2020. Incredible. 7 players left on that Leaf team.
And that is, yes, and the streak of not being shut out, 227 games as we're underway into the third period. Leafs to the left and the Canadiens to the right. Canadiens in their own zone. Nyes forces it back at the goal. Matthews spun in there but couldn't come up with the loose puck. Then Nyes knocks his man down. They battle for it along the far boards. Nyes knocks his man down a second time. It comes to the point. Long shot and a stop made there by Montembeault, and Matthews almost garnished the rebound into the short side of the net. Leafs keep the puck in. A pass onto the wing. It goes to McCabe. McCabe closing. Shot blocked. Rebound. Matthews back to the point. Shot by Ekman-Larsson blocked. Ekman-Larsson again blocked. Matthews after the loose puck and comes away with it. Back to Ekman-Larsson, who will play it into the corner. Marner with it now. Marner back along the boards. It goes to McCabe. McCabe going around back of the net. McCabe still with it as he works back to the point. Dropping it off there. Nylander loaded up the shot, but he fanned on it completely. But he's able to keep the puck in miraculously. Here's Nylander. Cross ice, a shot. Blocked in front. Tavares couldn't get the rebound. Glorious chance. Leafs are pressing here. Back to the point. Ekman-Larsson a shot. That was just off the mark wide. Kept alive by Timmins. Timmins back of the goal. Domi to Timmins, a centering pass. Knocked away. Canadiens trying to relieve the pressure. Will get it out at center. Right back in again comes Tavares. Tavares getting it back to the point. Timmins with a long shot that was off the mark wide. Canadiens Armia starting back for Montreal, and they finally get it down into the Leaf end. After a full 2 minutes of siege time down in the Canadian zone, but it's still 1-0. Timmins against the boards. Has it blocked. It comes back to the point. Lane Hudson trying to work around Domi. Got it to the right wing side. Now Robertson moves, loses his man, but the puck is knocked away. And now here's Nicky Robertson coming to center. 5 goals in the preseason and a wrist shot wired over top of the Montreal goal. Karam's all the way back to center ice. Pass ahead off a stick. Montreal come away with it. Savard backpedaling. Gives it off to his defense partner. Lane Hudson takes it back of the net. Now sends it up on the left wing side. Barron got it to center, but it is turned over again. Leafs have to wait for teammates to get onside. They'll go to the left wing, and it'll be wired around the boards to the near side. Robertson got it away from one man, but couldn't control the puck. It comes to center, and the Leafs are right back on it again. Sent in by Pontus Holmberg. Pacioretty will provide some forechecking. Puck goes around back of the Montreal goal. Leafs getting a change of players, and they steal the puck back. Here's David Camp, back of the net, looking for Pacioretty. Camp gets it off on the wing. McCabe sends it towards the goal. It was deflected wide of the net. Leafs after it again in the far corner. Camp is there once more. Now Pacioretty after it with Reeves trying to hunt around on the outside looking for a loose puck. It comes around to the near side. Pinching again the Leafs defense. Back of the goal to David Camp. Off to McCabe on the near half boards. McCabe works back to the point. Over to the left wing side. It'll come to Ekman-Larsson. Larsson gives it back to Lorentz. Lorentz back to the point. Fourth line getting a chance to hem them in. Nice move there. A spinorama move by the Leafs. McCabe sent down into the corner. Made famous, of course, by Danny Gallivan and Serge Savard, as it is played by the Canadiens to the blue line and finally out at center. What a great start this has been for the Leafs in the third period. They've been getting shots at the net.
Nothing
2 of them
really
on goal, but nothing clear-cut, right?
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, they're within inches of solving Samuel Montembeault.
Played out at center and down into the Leafs end, but the Canadiens get there to deny icing. Benoit takes his man into the corner. Puck goes free and swept around to the far wing and trapped at the blue line by Caden Gooley. Pass in front of the net comes to the side. Matthews played it back, but it hit the official. Canadiens trying to maintain possession, but Matthews gets it out. He is hooked to the ice, and a penalty call is coming to the Canadiens.
I think it's Radek Dvorak, or pardon me, Christian Dvorak. Not a lot of Dvoraks have played in the NHL.
Not a lot.
Christian is going to head to the box for taking down Austin Matthews at center ice.
So the Maple Leafs are going to go to the power play for the 4th time in the game.
First time since
first period.
Late in the first period.
And the power play brought to you by Enbridge Sustain. With a smart flow heating and cooling system that's always thinking about you, you can just think about the player's sweet flow.
I'll tell you something. This is a bit of a cheap one against Montreal as well, is it not? I mean, Matthews interfered with a little bit, but it was almost as if because Matthews went down that they were obligated to call the penalty, and Marty St. Louis shaking his head over behind the Montreal bench.
15-13 to play in the third. 1-0 Canadiens. Puck goes to the far boards. Tavares over trying to dig it free. Knocked down on the play was Marner, but that's drawn a crowd in there. Nylander trying to get it for Tavares. Now centered in front. Oh, and Matthews was there. But a great quick stick by the Canadiens denied him from having a glorious opportunity. Now the Canadiens in. And a shot went off the side of the net and went wide. Armia centers it in front. And unable to get a shot away was Matheson. Armia will think about playing it back into his own end to try and kill off some time. Gets the return pass. Armia down the left wing. The Leafs allow him access into the zone. And the puck is taken away from him. And now Marner starts slowly out with a pass ahead for Riley. Drop for Matthews. Matthews bringing it through center to the line. Got it in over the line. Pass to the right wing side goes to Nylander, who chops it in. Around back of the net. Centering pass didn't connect. And the Canadiens trying to clear had it hit the official. But now they do get it out and down the ice.
Boy, and like we saw over the last couple of power plays, Joe, great 5-on-5. And then the power play almost seems to give Montreal momentum. And they've been great in the penalty kill, but the Leafs haven't forced them.
Pacioretty getting it into the Montreal zone. Domi taken off the puck. Canadiens get it onto the forehand. Evans can't clear. Good play by Nyes to keep it in. Back to the point it goes. Ekman-Larsson now to Nick Robertson to Ekman-Larsson. Ekman-Larsson with a wrist shot coming. That was deflected wide. Robertson fakes a backhand and takes it along the boards, and back to Ekman-Larsson it goes. Domi returns the favor. Ekman-Larsson gives it back to Domi. Ekman-Larsson was taken down, no call. Domi saucering it in front. Nyes couldn't bunt it out of the air. Nyes getting it back to the point. Ekman-Larsson quickly to Domi. Domi with a shot. That went wide. Robertson traps on the near board. Penalty's about to expire and now does. Nyes goes back of the net. Stops. Looks in front. Rolled it into the goal crease. No one there. Nyes with it again. Trying to saucer it back to the point. But the Canadiens are able to come away with it. And Josh Anderson gets it down into the Toronto end. Christopher Tanev chasing down after him. Puck is in the skates of the players. And David Camp now works around back of the net. He'll get it up on the wing for Reeves. Reeves dropping it back to his goaltender, who plays on to Tanev. Tanev with a backhand pass ahead, and it is Camp getting it in over the line. Reeves looking for a hit there. Wisely decided not to take one on Gallagher, or would have been a hit from behind. Played down into the Toronto zone. Fans hollering for a penalty, none coming. Steven Lorentz works in over the line. Lorentz with a shot off the glove of Montembeault. That is the 34th shot on goal for Toronto. Comes off the wing, and the Canadiens will get it out at center ice. Timmins taking it away there from a Canadiens player. More booing going on in Montreal than we really warned. But anyway, here's McCabe sifting in on the left wing. Gets down into the left wing corner, sent it around to the near side for Matthews. Matthews left it for Marner, tipped back to Matthews on the left wing for McCabe. Can't shoot it, works it back along the boards, played into the corner for Nyes. Nyes looks to hand it off. Then when he did, it was in behind Marner, and the Canadiens have airmailed it high to center ice. It's almost to the point here of just declining the penalty, right?
Yeah, I mean, 5-on-5. Feels like the Leafs have dominated Montreal, but specialty teams have really been the difference in this game.
Played in across the line. Good play by Nyes to get it in deep. 11-17 to play. 1-0 Montreal. And Matheson starts out. Matheson got it ahead on the right wing. Caulfield trying to go to the front of the net, and the shot went high and wide. Rebound chipped along by Suzuki. Into the far corner, it'll go for Slafkovsky. Slafkovsky is taken down. The puck comes free, and Nyes airmails it high to center ice, where it's chopped in over the line by Ekman-Larsson, and he'll peel back. Matheson for the Canadiens. Circles a goal. It rolled off his stick, and it was at Tavares. I believe it was coming down the slot, and just failed to tie the game. Nylander back at center. Has it go off a skate and down into the Toronto zone. Connor Timmins to center, off Nylander and into the Montreal end. Montembeault leaves it there, and the Canadiens trying to work out at center. They'll get to the line and in. Drop pass and a shot that deflects wide and back of the net. Grabbed there by Evans. Evans works back on his forehand now, tries to get a shot away. That was stopped in the rebound by Gallagher, was shot over top of the goal. Cleared back to the point. Long shot into the near corner. Maple Leafs with it now to Nylander. Drop back to the point. Nylander trying to get a change of players as it's played ahead and deflected in on Montembeault, who clears it out at center ice, and the Canadiens shoot it back into the Toronto end. Stollers around on the far side. Pontus Holmberg with a pass ahead on a rolling puck. Ended up going in on goal on Montembeault. Puck pushed up on the wing for Armia, and he'll get it out at center ice, and a nice play by the Canadiens to get in. Oh, and a toe save made by Anthony Stollers. That was a game saver right there. Played ahead by the Maple Leafs and across the line. Long shot that Montembeault has a bit of difficulty with, but is able to cover up on it and stop play with a face-off coming in the Montreal zone. Anthony Stollers with a splendid save to keep the score at 1 as he robs Alex Newhook. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
When it happens in the NFL,
Robert Saleh has been fired as head coach of the Jets.
We're reacting to it on Sirius XM NFL Radio.
What? Wow.
Talking about the biggest stories all day.
Chicago, as of now, is in the race. I like where they are, but look at that division.
From the field to the front office, nobody covers the game.
Jonathan Gannon has got to feel really good about where the trajectory of this Arizona Cardinals team is headed.
Like Sirius XM NFL Radio, Channel 88.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
No one keeps you closer to U.S. soccer than Sirius XM FC.
We're now joined by U.S. men's national team head coach Mauricio Pochettino.
The country is about to compete, to win, and to give everything. What we need to translate to the fans, we need to be protagonists, we need to be aggressive team, an entertainment team, because we are USA and the culture is about to win.
Hear more from Mauricio Pochettino on the Sirius XM app. Just search FC.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM
Radio Network.
It is a 1-0 Montreal lead.
9:18 to go here in the third period. Leafs are out shooting the Canadiens 38-24. But would you not agree that Anthony Stollers has been the goaltender forced to make the more difficult stops?
At this point, I would, other than the goalposts.
Yeah, but which weren't him.
Exactly. The goalposts have been excellent here tonight as well. Shot deflects wide, rebound in front of the goal. Unable to get a shot away. It comes back to Tanev. His shot went off the mark wide. Another shot goes to the side of the net. Marner can't come up with it. Played back of the goal for Matheson. Matheson plays it ahead. Caulfield, who scored on the power play in the first period, sends it down into Toronto territory. Riley around the boards, cut off, centering pass. Caulfield got it away. It kind of fluttered towards the net, and Stollers had to kind of flap at that thing with the catching glove to knock it down. Puck back at center ice. McCabe stretches things out for the Maple Leafs. Montreal changing. McCabe straight up ice through the blue line to center. He'll flip it in. Bounces wide of Montembeault. Played around back of the net. Couple of hits there by Nylander to try and free it up, but the puck comes out at center ice, and the Leafs have it back at their blue line, but Domi can't come away with it. Canadiens across the line. Tavares breaks that up. McCabe cross ice to his defense partner. Timmins gets it airmailed high to center, and now brought to the line and offside, says the linesman.
I think they might be saying that because the pass was from inside the Leaf line, it might be a face-off back in the Toronto zone.
Well, we will sort it out when we come back. It is a 1-0 Montreal lead. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Craig. Craig likes it warm. Craig loves 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Craig doesn't understand Fahrenheit. But Craig does like to save money when he's at work. Craig also cares about his carbon footprint. He's so thoughtful, that Craig.
With SmartFlow from Enbridge Sustain, you won't have to think about your HVAC, but it will always be thinking of you. For a limited time, sign up and get up to $1,000 in bill credits and apply for up to $3,000 in rebates. Learn more at EnbridgeSustainSmartFlow.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime...
Damn it. There we go. Now I forgot to turn my mic back on. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Big shout outs to the super chats and the donations that were made to our Sick Kids rally. Lisa Aiello, $30 5 hours ago. Thank you, Lisa. 2 donations, actually, a total of $40. Thank you so much. Aaron Doust as well. Marcel Louis d'Entremont. Marcel Louis D. Cheers, my man. Thank you for hanging out with us and making that donation to Sick Kids. And let's get back to it, huh? Let's get back to the hockey here. We got to finish this game out strong. Please, after the game, please go check out the link that is pinned in the chat. Let's make a difference for Sick Kids Hospital. It's opening night, for Christ's sakes. You people say you're Leafs fans. Let's make a difference for Sick Kids Hospital. Come on, Leafs fans. Go, Leafs, go. Go, Leafs, go. Go, Leafs, go. Back to the chat.
You know who the backup was? Joseph Woll. He was up. So he is one of 7 players from a Leaf standpoint that are on the roster now. Another one, Timothy Liljegren, not in the lineup tonight, but played in that game too.
Leafs steal the puck. There's a chance in for Lorenzo, and he got a second opportunity, and it was knocked wide. Steve Lorenz jumping in. Good hustle. Stole it from the Montreal defenseman. Now Reeves getting it back at the net for Benoit. Simon Benoit with a pass ahead off a stick into Montreal territory. 7.5 minutes to go in the third. And the Canadiens hanging on to a 1-0 shutout going here for Sam Montembeault. How many shutouts has Sam Montembeault had in his career, I wonder, said the play-by-play broadcaster to the color analyst.
Look, said the color analyst.
Back in his own zone. Got it out at center. Josh Anderson is able to knife it down into the Toronto zone. Puck back at the net for Morgan Rielly. Rielly got it ahead, and it is tipped out at center, and now Domi gets it to the line just in. That was a close play at the blue line. It doesn't matter. The Canadiens have got it back out at center ice. Chopped in over the line on a delay, and the Leafs Tanev organizes and gets it ahead for Tavares. John Tavares mishandled the puck, has to go back to his own blue line, then heads to the bench. Leafs will change with 6.5 minutes to go. Here's McCabe ahead for Matthews. 2 Canadian players collide, one losing his stick. Here's Marner centering in front of the goal. Oh, and Nyes was there. He really wasn't able to settle the puck and get a shot away as much as just tipping it. And it rolled into Montembeault, and he's able to cover up.
Well, Montreal's done this all night, haven't they? Last moment. Get a stick on stick with the Leafs. Lift a stick. Walk a shot. And that's after Steven Lorenz, again, the great opportunity in the first one, but then the rebound gets a stick slapped at, stick on stick slash that knocked it away. And here Matthew Nyes tried to hold the puck and load up, but by the time he delivered it towards the net, it was tipped.
Have we found out about Mr. Montembeault? I believe he just has one.
Just one. Actually, Caden Primo had 2 last year, but Montembeault's came 2 years ago.
6 minutes to go. Montembeault trying to shut out the Maple Leafs. Across the line. Puck stolen back by Toronto, but cleared into the corner by the Canadiens. They'll play it back at the net. Matheson getting his defense partner involved. And around back of the net now as Pontus Holmberg is there and taking his time behind the net is Caden Gooley. And he may stay there as long as he can. Well, he's ticking away here. And finally he makes a pass that goes out at center, but the Leafs come away with the loose puck. Pass for Robertson didn't work. Robertson unable to get it away there from Newhook, who got it across the line. Now the Leafs do come away with it. In across the line, working to the left wing side, Pacioretty. Shot went well wide of the net. Carms back to the blue line. Kept in by Timmins. Timmins to Robertson. In front of the net, Pontus Holmberg shot blocked. Rebound laying there. Tantalizingly slow, and it's cleared by the Canadiens down the ice, but icing waved off. Benoit, back of the net for Timmins. 4:58 to play. Still 1-0 Montreal. Shot in by Connor Timmins. 41 shots for the Maple Leafs. Canadiens with 25 as it's back of the net. Leafs have had 11. The Canadiens 5 in this third period. Leafs at center. Shot in and around the board. Nylander down the wall trying to come away with a loose puck. Battles for it there. Played it back towards the blue line, but it's intercepted. And Gooley will clear it out at center and now bring it in over the line. Drop pass for Gallagher, and a weak shot was stopped easily by Anthony Stolarz. Not sure how early Craig Berube likes to pull his goaltender, but we will hopefully get indication of when that might happen as it's back into the Toronto zone. Tanev starts out. A long left wing feed. Did that go over enough sticks? It didn't make icing anyway. Back into the corner. Centering pass. Comes all the way back to the blue line. Ekman-Larsson has to settle the disc. Back to the point. Long shot by McCabe was knocked wide of the net. Kept in at the blue line by the Maple Leafs. Down around back of the net. Nice jamming! And it was stopped on the short side by Montembeault. Good effort there by Nyes. Played off the glass to the blue line. Canadiens trying to get it out, and they do. But it'll be grabbed off by Toronto and fed right back in for Marner. Marner, left wing side, Matthews. Matthews in. Backhand shot stop. Marner can't get the rebound. Leafs trying to keep the puck in, but don't. And the Canadiens break it with Hudson. In across the line. Dropping it back there for Doc. He couldn't get a shot away. And Marner slows things down at the Toronto blue line, looking for a change of players. Pass ahead. Brought in over the line. Long shoot in is stopped again by Montembeault. 43 shots on goal for the Maple Leafs. 3:04 to play. The streak is very much in danger. Leafs get it in on the line. Down the boards, Robertson trying to work his way clear in the corner. Got it to the side of the goal. Played back to the blue line. Riley tips to keep it in. There's Robertson in front of the net. Pontus Holmberg took a whack at it. That didn't work. Canadiens flip it down the ice, and Tanev has to hustle back. There'll be no icing. 2:36 to play. Up ahead. Tavares lifting it in over the line. Canadiens come away with it. They'll get it back out at center, and Armia shoots it in. And now 2:24 to go. Stolarz pointing to the bench. Riley starts up ice for the Maple Leafs. Riley coming to center. Long shoot in. Bounces wide of the Canadiens' goal. Punched around the boards. It'll come to the line. Kept in by Nylander. Puck in front of the net. Matthews doesn't shoot it. Delmia centering pass didn't work. Back to the point. Ekman-Larsson down along the boards once more. Penalty, or the Leafs now with an extra attacker. Down into the corner it goes. Matthews along the goal line for Tavares. Tavares circles out, still with it. Down low for Matthews. Matthews circles as well. Comes out in front of the net, can't shoot it. Fanned on the pass, but got it to Willie. Down into the corner once more. Marner tried to center, intercepted, stolen back by the Leafs. Centering pass. Oh, and that went just astray. Big break there to keep it alive. Minute and a half to go. Nylander, right wing side, drops it back for Matthews. Matthews circles, far side Marner. Marner holding, looking for someone. Back to Matthews with the shot, and that deflects and goes high into the screen. Out of play with 1:19. The Leafs will take a timeout and keep this unit going.
And again, the Leafs' opportunities are almost, not quite getting clean looks to the net. You give the Canadiens credit, but the Leafs now 45-27 in shots. And yet the Canadiens have frustrated the Leaf forwards. As Craig Berube has in fact called a timeout. Even Austin Matthews ripped a one-timer. I don't think Montembeault saw that at all from the top of the left wing circle.
Did that hit Tavares in front?
That might have gone off the wrist or the hip area of Tavares. Then up and over. The glass into the screen. Matthews looks to the rafters. But still, 3 posts and a number of great opportunities here. But again, it seems that they can't get a handle on the puck and get a clear look. And there's 1:19 to go. Last year, when the Leafs hosted Montreal in the season opener, they scored twice with the goaltender on the bench. And that was Austin Matthews scoring his second and third goal of the game, second and third of the season.
Third period.
Before Mitch Marner won it in a shootout for the Leafs.
My bad there, sorry. Maple Leaf third period brought to you by Enbridge Sustain. With a Superflow heating and cooling system that's always thinking about you, you can just think about the players. Sweet Flow.
Well, I hope we can get a sweet flow to overtime now. Wouldn't it be nice?
Yes, it would. Minute 19 to go. Draw in the circle to the right of Montembeault. And the draw won by the Leafs, but it comes back out over the blue line. Matthews shooting it right back in again. Round on the far side. Corralled by the Leafs and kicked into the corner. Centering pass. And Matthews was coming down the slot but couldn't get to it. Rung around the boards. Nylander does a great job to keep it in. Into the slot area for Tavares. Dish back for Morgan Riley. Down into the corner. Centering pass. And that was chipped by Domi just over top of the net. Canadians get it out at center. 48 seconds to go. Riley. Left wing. In comes Tavares. Stick handling through. It got into the goal crease area. Montembeault down. And the puck was into the corner. Fed ahead. The Canadians trying to get it out. And they will do so with 33 seconds left. But icing called with 30.1 seconds left in the third period.
One last gasp. But again, the Leafs almost getting some great opportunities. Maybe the play there. The best part of that last push by the Leafs was the kick pass by Mitch Marner. Puck bounced off the left wing boards and Marner kicked it perfectly into the corner.
So time is of the essence. Tavares to take the faceoff. And it is scrummed, but it comes back to the point. Here's Matthews at the right point with a shot. Glove save made by Montembeault. There was no one taking his eyes away on that occasion. The shot was going wide, it looked like, anyway. But the idea of getting it to the net.
Next bench ready now is the extra forward out with the Leafs here.
And he was stationed in front of the net, but couldn't get the deflection on the wrist shot from Matthews.
One of his 2 goals in the preseason came on a point shot that he redirected.
Face off again. Controlled by Montreal. Punched around the boards, and it's going to clear. 18 seconds. The Leafs have to wait for teammates to get onside. Now they send it in. Montembeault playing it back into the corner.
Think it was offside at the line, maybe?
Well, that ate up some time.
Yeah, you would hope they would check this. 15.3 seconds showing on the clock right now. Let's put it this way. I mean, even if the Leafs fail to come back, I think the referee is going over to the penalty bench now to make sure the clock is reset properly. Faceoff will come outside the Montreal line. You play this game 9 out of 10 times, you're going to win.
Oh, absolutely.
46-27 the shots. Leafs down by a goal.
And the faceoff is outside the blue line, and another whistle here as they go back. And Craig Berube wants to make sure that they've got the right amount of time up on the board.
They haven't readjusted it yet.
No, 15.3 seconds. And the draw one. Riley, near side Nylander. Long shoot in, goes wide of the goal. Canadians get to it on the wing. Clear it to the line. Nylander sends it to the side of the net. Centering pass. Oh, Matthews had a glorious chance. Montembeault stopped him, and the game is over. Sam Montembeault has the game of his life. And the Montreal Canadiens are going to win their opening game of the regular season and beat the Maple Leafs by the narrowest of margins, 1-0. 47 Toronto shots. Montreal had 27.
And this will snap a 227-game regular season streak in which the Leafs had not been shut out in the regular season. 132 if you count the playoffs as well, or another 32 if you count the playoffs as well. So 259-game streak overall that comes to an end. Austin Matthews may have had the best chance on a stick in the dying seconds. But when it comes to the Molson 3 Stars, tonight's probably a pretty easy one to pick them.
Yep, and the Molson 3 Stars are brought to you by Molson. Molson, everyone in. Who have you got?
I'm going to take the cowardly way out. Cole Caulfield, only goal of the game, star number 3. Anthony Stolarz, probably, and not taking anything away from Montembeault, Stolarz had to make the more difficult saves, the more clear-cut opportunities. He gets star number 2. Sam Montembeault, 46 for 46. It looks like they've readjusted the shots. Easily the player of the game for the Montreal Canadiens.
And 46 shots and 3 goalposts that the Maple Leafs also hit during the course of this game. So, panic time starts tonight. It's the season has just gone awry, and changes are going to have to be made. There'll be bloodletting down at the rink as the Leafs have all night to think about this as they head on to New Jersey tomorrow night.
What has Craig Berube done to this team? Is that the headlines? Yeah.
That's the headline.
Anyway, it's probably a good thing to get right back at it the next night.
And we will have that action for you beginning at 7 o'clock. We hope that you will join us at that time as the Leafs drop a 1-0 decision to the Montreal Canadiens. The post-game show coming your way with Gord Stellick and Justin Cuthbert. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Go inside the mind of the ultimate country boy.
Hey y'all, it's Luke Bryan. I'm bringing you Country Boy Radio, my very own channel, celebrating my new album, Mind of a Country Boy. A little more country on. Guys and girls, you're going to hear all the tracks from my new album, my stories from making the record, and some of my friends are coming up.
Luke Bryan's Country Boy Radio. For a limited time, starting Friday on Channel 79 and the SiriusXM app.
Hockey 24/7.
Hey, Insiders. Rough night tonight. Rough night. Congratulations, Habs fans. Congratulations. 1-0. Great performance by the goalie. Montembeault, however you say his nice French name. Congratulations to the Habs. Rub it in. Enjoy it. We get back at it tomorrow night, Leafs fans. Hopefully, the sarcasm there from Joe and Ralph will bring this team better luck tomorrow night against Sheldon Keefe and the New Jersey Devils. We'll be live right here on TSI for that one. Thank you all for hanging out with us. 44,331 subscribers. This thing has been going nuts tonight as the baseball games. I've been sitting here watching the Leafs game on the TV in front of me. So I don't even know what's going on in those baseball games. I just know that there's a lot of people watching Toronto Sports Insider right now. So I should probably focus on sending some love into those streams there and some ads. But anyways, good night, everybody. Thank you very much for the kind words about the house. Hopefully we'll find out tomorrow. Hopefully it's supposed to hit here overnight. We'll see what the storm surge does. I think with the wind we'll be fine given where it is. But it's the storm surge. If we get 6 to 9 feet where I'm located, it's good. It's done. It's over. We're just gonna let it be torn down, and we'll find a different office for G6 Entertainment and Toronto Sports Insider. So, with that being said, everybody have a great night. Thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. Tough loss for the Leafs, but it's all good. I'll let the post game run, and at least you're not stuck in a hurricane right now. Hey, cheers. So, cheers, Insiders. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you all again. Go Leafs, go.
Niners traveling to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. The line opened with the 49ers as a 4-point favorite at a total of 46.5. Make sure you tune into Sports Grid Radio to stay up to date on all the latest.
The place to get the winning edge over the sports books this football season is Sports Grid Radio. Channel 159 in the car and on the SiriusXM app.
On and off the ice.
Steven Stamkos, you wonder, is that it for him with the Tampa Bay Lightning? He's the guy that's probably, with Marty St. Louis and Vinny LeCavalier, recognized as the all-time greatest Tampa Bay Lightning players. This is all about deciding whether or not the price is going to be right to keep your captain around and potentially keep him a Tampa Bay Lightning member for his entire career.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91. And on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app. Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
This is the NHL. These are pros. You don't want guys to put good power play units on, don't take penalties. You don't want good power play units to score goals when you've given up a whole bunch, kill them. You don't like it, do something about it. If you want to reward your guys who had a good game with a chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team. Don't worry about mine.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91. And on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. NHL Morning Skate.
The LA Kings just been a funny animal about their goaltending. I mean, Jonathan Quick for so many years, and then flashes in the pan that quickly dissipate. And Vegas is a great example. They won with Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill. And that was good enough goaltending to win a Stanley Cup. And that, at a minimum, is what the Los Angeles Kings need to do.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app. And then.
Here's a chance. Oh, what a...
Cheers, Insiders. We made it. We made it to hockey season. It's opening night. NHL face-off tonight. The Maple Leafs travel to Montreal. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Tonight is a special night. We are running our Sick Kids Create 100K campaign, and the link is pinned in the chat. We want to make a big difference for Sick Kids Hospital tonight, and we do that every single live stream here on Toronto Sports Insider, as a percentage of our proceeds goes donated directly to Sick Kids every single month. You're making a difference just by being here as well, by seeing an ad. If you see something that you like, please click it and support the advertisers here on YouTube, as it does help our Sick Kids campaign. Now, let's get back to opening night. Go Leafs, go! Thank you for your support, and please help us create a bunch of donations for this Sick Kids campaign. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Changing the world, one insider at a time. Go Leafs, go!
Yeah, I got a lot of tweets and I had some DMs from the people like, shame old Leafs, this is same. I was having a good chuckle tonight at the tweets and the DMs. I was enjoying it. So thanks to the listeners. Welcome back. Glad to have you here. And let the takes fly in the chat. Just let her rip tonight. Yep. You can fire away. We'll have the boys read them. And then, if there's anything there, if no, we're going to try to mix in more comments this year. It's going to be a goal of Leafs talk this season. Anyways, the story of the game is pretty clear. The Leafs got stoned by a goaltender who was on fire. And it's a little bit of a sore subject here, I would say, probably more than every other market where a goalie stands on his head and you go, yeah, of course. But let's start with this. What'd you make of Berube and night one in terms of the Leafs implementing his system?
So I think it's really funny that the Leafs, how many games is 227 games? How many seasons is that? Sorry. Is that 3-4 seasons?
Yeah.
Doing quick math.
Yes.
Okay.
64. Yeah.
So they hadn't been shut out in 227 games.
Yeah.
And then in Berube's first game behind the bench, they get shut out. It's not, that's gotta just suck for them. I thought that they looked awesome for long stretches of the game tonight. I really did. I thought they controlled the play. They're clearly a much better team than the Montreal Canadiens. I know that's not a hot take by any stretch of the imagination, but I really, really liked the involvement of a lot of the defensemen. I thought that a lot of them were dropping in low. Like Oliver Ekman-Larsson looks like he can handle the puck a little bit. And I know that Berube talked about getting the defensemen more involved, and it felt like they actually had a bit of offense from the back end. So outside of systems and breaking down the tape or whatever, the thing that jumped out to me noticeably was how much the defensemen were involved offensively kind of off the rush. But outside of that, I thought the fourth line looked good. They were heavy. Maybe that's more of a Berube thing. But I thought they looked good. So maybe that's good for Berube. I'm not sure. But the defenseman thing is what I noticed the most. But
I would say that, and that it was just very clear that they wanted to cycle it down low and that they played a heavier style of game. Yep. I will say that there's reason to be optimistic about that long term. There's obviously going to be some growing pains with this team. You could even see a couple of times some miscommunications, and I wondered, hey, is that because it is a new system, or is that just because you're a little bit disconnected as a group because it's game one of the regular season? But they want to bang and they want to play down low. And that's the reason why they brought in a guy like Pacioretty. I know that he's not exactly Mr. Forecheck, but he is somebody where it's you get the puck on his stick down low and he's going to try and generate offense. Mm-hmm. And so I think that kind of stuck out to me, that these guys really tried to engage in that. I thought they were committed to it. They came out, the top line came out like a house on fire to start this hockey game. They were a little overly aggressive, I thought, with some of the penalties, right? Mm-hmm. Some dumb ones that they probably want to clean up. Little ticky-tacky on a few, but ultimately nothing that was egregious that went against them. But you could just kind of see that this is not going to be a team that rips you up off the rush and in transition, because they've essentially got no speed. This, I don't know how many teams in hockey are going to be slower than the Leafs. I texted you and Borny, how many guys on this team are speedsters, right? Who's the third fastest guy on the Toronto Maple Leafs? I think it's a genuine question. But good amounts of time with possession, some good cycles, some decent opportunities, but ultimately they didn't really have to make Montembeault work too much for those 37. A lot of him just kind of being in decent position and letting him play off of them. Yeah,
I thought a lot of much more quantity than quality tonight. I couldn't tell you the 10 bell save that he really made tonight. He kind of robbed Matthews in the slot right at the death tonight. Right at the end of the game, he kind of robbed him in the slot a bit, but a pretty quick chest, in my opinion. They hit him a lot right in the crest, a lot in the pads. I didn't think they were really 10 bell saves. There was a lot of quantity, like I said. Yeah. But the speed thing to me is interesting. I don't know if it's ever been a calling card of the Leafs. They've never really been a fast team.
Maybe early on when they had
Kapanen and Janssen and the younger team, but throughout the last few years, they've never been really a fast team. And you could maybe say that that's been part of their downfall. I'm not sure what it is. I'd say more of their downfall is their stars not being able to score in big games. But, I don't think their calling card was ever going to be their speed, but it is something that you bring up. I do noticed them being a pretty slow team. Robertson pops because of how fast he is and how fast he's moving out there. But outside of that, I didn't think there was many guys flying. So it's an interesting point by you for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so this brings me to, because we're rolling these packs on YouTube, and Joe just rolled what should have been the best chance of the game, the Oliver Ekman-Larsson breakaway shorthanded. Can we run that, Joe? Because I actually thought that this was clearly one of the moments of the game where they have this incredible opportunity. Amazing bounce goes their way. I don't know when I've seen a worse opportunity in this. I don't know what's going on in his head. He fades away from
because he almost
net.
falls. Watch when he gets over the blue line here. If you're watching on YouTube, he has like one wobbly step towards the watch. See, like he kind of steps back, like he's about to fall a little bit, and then he panics and he just gets it's horrible. But like as soon as he went to the one way. Yeah. He knew that he was done. Like you can kind of see that speed wobble, and right there, he's like, I just got to get something on net here, or this is going to turn out really, really bad. And it still looked awful. So
I think if you see that attempt at any level higher than, let's say, Pee Wee, you'd be like on the bench. What were you doing there? Like, why that? Not a move.
That Blues guy, you always see those like top 10s of like the worst shootout attempts ever, and there's that one Blues guy that like goes in on the penalty shot, and he like loses his footing and goes like flying on his ass and into the end boards.
That's better.
That's better. No, but that was almost what that was. Like it was so close to that, he just lost his balance. Listen,
I think guys who miss the net, guys who fall, guys who mishandle the puck or it bobbles on them, you're like, okay, fine, that happened to you. Like it's a mistake. That looked like a conscious decision to me. I don't think that the stumble that you're talking about is big enough for him to have faded away from the goaltender and shot a soft wrister to the moon. Montembeault, like, I wonder if he was surprised by it. Like, remember when the take for Bieber scoring on Binnington was, hey, the shot's going to be so bad that it might take him by surprise and like actually flutter puck in the net. Because he's never seen a shot so bad. That was genuinely the chance for OEL in that game. Like it was aggressively terrible. That's the way that I would characterize it.
It's very bad.
Yeah.
Very bad. No sugarcoating it. He is a defenseman after all, an offensive defenseman at that. And so you'd expect a little bit more touch.
A little.
But, just a touch more touch, I would say.
Just
touch.
So which one of the new guys stood out the most to you?
Probably Steve Lorentz looking like Rick Nash tonight would probably be my answer. What the hell got into that guy? Like you heard him this morning at morning skate. He was like, "Oh, it's game day, baby." You see him on the bench. This guy, the passion levels are completely off the charts. Like passion per 60, it's out of control. How much he loves the Toronto Maple Leafs. He cannot stop talking about how much he loves the Toronto Maple Leafs. His dad talking about him like waking him up when his mom put him to bed and they would watch the game together. Then he'd go back to bed at second intermission. Guy's horned up to be playing for the Leafs. So for me, he was jumping out. I thought that fourth line in general had a lot of great shifts, but I think it's a toss up between him and Stolarz, who had the best nights for newcomers for sure.
Yeah. I think both those guys are the right answer. Like the goaltender and Lorentz. I thought Pacioretty had a good game, like overall, had the penalty, but also drew two early on. I liked that line, actually, surprisingly. Holmberg still leaves me a little cold, if I'm just being honest. Like it's just one of those things where he's a fine player. He's a, above replacement guy, barely ish. I don't know, had a good camp, but there's just nothing about his game that really pops for me. And so having him as your 3C, he just feels miscast. I feel sorry for him because he's probably, you and I did Whipping Boy rankings when we did our Leafs Talk season preview.
Yeah.
And during the game, I kind of had a moment where I went, ooh, I didn't take into consideration that he's going to be like playing above his skis.
Yeah.
And that might result in a little bit of contempt from the fan base, considering like he could end up being the weakest link on that line. But I thought that those guys actually, I thought that they looked quality. Like they generated some opportunity. Robertson, I thought, carried in some of the momentum that he had from the preseason and the regular season. I thought had a couple of chances. Holmberg gets a shot blocked in the slot where you thought maybe it was going to turn out into being a good chance. But the two guys were Lorentz. Lorentz skated well, looked good, drove the net, just played with, I thought, some purpose, straight lines, the kind of thing that obviously Berube wants for this roster. My nitpick is I don't love the number. It's just
looking like Alan McCauley out there. We're number 18.
It makes you look skinny. Like it makes you look. Yeah, it makes you look a little smaller. I think he's.
But what would you think if he was wearing 19?
Yeah, well, you can't do that. Like,
well, would he look not skinny with 19?
No,
is it just 18?
I don't know. It's just the 18, something about it. It made it look like he's slimmed down 5 pounds.
Maybe he has. The way he was skating tonight, maybe he has slimmed down 5 pounds. There was a guy that he could not wait to play this game, clearly.
Yeah.
And he had maybe the best chance of the third period, where I don't know who he stripped along the sideboards, comes in flying, hits Montembeault in the shoulder, and then gets the follow-up chance and just misses on it. Yep. I think that was maybe the best chance they had in the third period outside of Matthews right at the end of the game. But I was impressed by him. And he's a guy that I think Berube is going to use a lot. Like the way that he deployed, if we go back to the Berube thing that you like off the top, what I noticed about him, I don't know what point of the third period, was it third period or second period, where we come back from a commercial break. And normally, like it's an offensive zone draw. We come back from a commercial break. In the Sheldon Keefe era, that's 10 times out of 10, either Matthews or Tavares. And you come back, you're down a goal in the third period, and it's the fourth line. Yep. So, I mean, maybe it's indicative of the way they look tonight. They had great offensive zone time tonight or whatever. So maybe it's just to play the hot hand kind of thing, as opposed to just deferring to the stars immediately. But I thought that was interesting to see that because they'd earned it. They'd had a good night. So Lorentz was awesome tonight. I give him full credit. Looked good.
Yeah, listen, they were trailing in the game. So I think that did impact the ice time a little bit. The fourth line was just under 10 minutes, like all of the guys that were on that unit. And that is with a little bit of PK time for a couple of those guys.
Yeah.
I would guess moving forward that if the Leafs are playing with a lead, or it's, an even hockey game where they don't have to throw that unit over the boards, that you're going to see them uptick closer to, the 11-minute mark on a lot of nights, that there's going to be a little bit more balance throughout the lineup and a little bit of balance with the minutes, something that I think was missing in the past. The Stolars thing to me is actually the biggest story of the game. Obviously Joe Woll misses the game. He's got a lower body injury, which is about as bad of a thing that could happen to this team out of the gate from a confidence standpoint for Woll. It's not good. It's an injury prone player who the Leafs really want to try to dismiss the idea that he's hurt. Like they're kind of defensive about that narrative.
He gave $11 million over 3 years too, starting next season. Like they made a true financial commitment to him. So let's not get off the point about Stolars. So we can talk about Woll.
They're hand in hand, because if you had the Woll injury last season and you had to turn it over to Samsonov, you didn't feel good about it. And you didn't feel great about the depth, even though Martin Jones came in and played solid for this team for a stretch. It was down the stretch. Like as the season went on, that wore off and Martin Jones became the 36-year-old goaltender, 37-year-old goaltender that he was, and he didn't seem like a very reliable option. I thought Dennis Hildeby had one of the better preseasons for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Another big kid who I wouldn't say he's ready. You want to see him play more in the AHL, obviously, but I don't feel terrible about having him in your developmental system. And Stolars throughout the preseason was awesome, and he carried that in tonight. I thought obviously he's big. Like, duh, he's a monster. He's huge in the net, but tracked the puck really well, looked quick across his crease in a lot of spots, just calm in the net, nice presence. I really liked what I saw from Stolars tonight, and that was a big boost of confidence for this team if they're going to be missing Woll for a bit of chunk, that he could step in here and end up playing, the role of a starting goaltender.
Yeah, I was super impressed. And you and I have been texting. We've been having some conversations, some unreasonable conversations all throughout the preseason.
Yeah, listen, we bought a lot of private Stolar stock. Like we're in.
The boys got some stock. Like it's such a contradicting style to what we've watched with Ilya Samsonov for the past 2 seasons, where he's just basically the exact opposite. Big and quiet as opposed to smaller and flying around. Like he's square to the shooter. Like the one that beats him tonight, like no goalie in the NHL is making a save on that. It's a great pass. Caulfield deposits it. Absolute leaf killer, by the way. Caulfield shoots it in the top corner. But yeah, like he just looked great. And there was a couple moments in that third period where the Leafs had the Habs totally hemmed in. They were zipping it around the zone. And then he was sitting there quiet for long stretches of the third period. And then all of a sudden, there was like a couple fire drills in the Leafs zone, and he made 2 or 3 really great, quiet, confident saves. And you could just see it boost the confidence of the Leafs. They just went right back down the other way and continued to carry the play. I thought it was an incredibly impressive debut from Stolarz tonight. Like, I thought of the 2 goalies, he had the more dangerous chances to save. Like, I know Montembeault made 47 stops or whatever.
No,
I
agree.
thought a lot of the Habs chances were way more grade A than the Leafs chances. So, like I said, impressed. And I think it's like Show just put in our chat here that Berube considering running back-to-back with Stolarz. It's something we've got to discuss here. It's the second game of the season. After the way he looked tonight, are you really going to put Hildeby in there against Sheldon Keefe's Devils in the second night of a back-to-back? Hildeby that Keefe wouldn't start last year and went back-to-back with Martin Jones, if you'll remember. To me, it's something that you really got to consider because I love Stolarz tonight, and it's early enough in the season where you think about it.
So I think Stolarz's career high is 28 games.
Yep.
Might be 29.
And I think he's going over that.
Yeah. The plan was always for him to go over that.
Yeah.
I would say no. I understand that you are playing Sheldon Keefe, and it's going to be that Devils team will be hungry to try and embarrass the Leafs.
But you talk about money on the board. There is going to be some moolah on the board tomorrow.
Money on the board. Leafs off of a back-to-back where I think that they played fairly hard tonight. It's like you got some travel that's going to be involved here. It's a pretty tough spot to throw Dennis Hildeby in for an NHL game. I just think that if you've already got Joe Woll hurt and you have to consider the fact that he might not be healthy for a significant portion of the season, given his track record with injuries, I just don't, as much as you'd love to beat Sheldon Keefe, as much as you hope that the Leafs show up against him, as much as you hope they play defensively responsibly on a back-to-back, and I get it. Like there is a case. I'm not dismissing the case. I'm not going to cry about it if Stolarz is in the net. I'm just saying, to me, this is probably a situation where cooler heads prevail. You throw a Hildeby in the net and say, hey, you had a great preseason. Show us what you got. No pressure. We need you for a night, and hopefully that's the only time that you got to play him because the Woll injury is minor, and then he can go down to the AHL and get more reps. That would just be my position. I don't need to play the Sheldon Keefe.
You convinced me. You're right.
Like it's the Stanley Cup.
You're right. You're 100% right. That's you talked it out well, and there's nothing I can come back to that. You have.
Well, it's just like, are you trying to win the cup, or are you trying to win the Sheldon Keefe Bowl? Like
on the second half of back-to-back in Jersey. Like it's their first game coming home from Czechia, where they, listen, everybody's talking about them like they're the 1975 Habs now because they beat the Sabres like a drum twice in Czechia. So everyone's all horned up about them. But I think you've convinced me totally. So if you go to Hildeby tonight, that's why I was kind of surprised it wasn't Murray. Because you go to Murray or whatever, he gets lit up like a tree. It's not the end of the world. I guess they're worried about him having to go back down and losing him on waivers again. Is that a thing? Like I don't know.
I don't know.
It's surprising. Like I'm sure Murray's not thrilled about that. That on the first night of the season, Woll doesn't dress and Hildeby's the first call. He's probably not the most pleased about that. But anyways, who cares?
So my last thing on the Stolarz stuff too is I like the point you made about the timely saves.
Yeah.
Because I actually thought that was a big part of this game that kept the Leafs in it, which was it was in the first period, right? Like the Leafs dominated the play for the vast majority of the game, but Montreal had some good chances. And when they got their opportunities, Stolarz shut the door and never looked scrambly, never looked uncomfortable, just, played the position well, tracked the puck well, and gave his team a real shot tonight. You lose 1-0 in your goaltender's debut. He plays that well. It kind of sucks. But yeah, again, I think the Leafs could have probably been better on some chances. Power play, power play looked mighty familiar, I will say.
Like the one thing I thought, they're talking about the dump and chase and all this different stuff. They still like to turn it back and drop it back. And I'm like, this is the tradition of Leafs talk, but I'll ask for it for the 100th time of us doing this show. Can we get a hard rim one time? Can we get a hard rim here, get the puck in deep, get a board battle one, and just maybe try that once or twice? You did notice though that they were bringing the second unit over quicker.
Yeah, it did. And I was pretty surprised because again, you and I have watched a lot of games with Mark Savard, and what was he always a proponent of whenever he'd be sitting with him?
The
Stars, one power play. Yeah. Stars, one power play, one power play.
But if you're going to do that, like to me, if you're going to load up the stars on one unit, you're going to play them for a minute 40. If you're going to be and if you want to have a minute and a minute, you're doing 2 units with separating the guys and kind of trying to do it that way. So to me, it's counterproductive. Like, listen, they got a good second unit. They got good players on it. A lot of teams would kill to have the Leafs second unit. I don't know if you saw the Blackhawks power play unit last night. It was like Pat Maroon was on it and Kurashev was on it. Like, it's not pretty. A lot of teams would love to have the Leafs second unit. But to me, it's just, if you're going to be running a minute and a minute, you either mix it up or just go full out and put the Leafs stars out there the whole time.
Buddy, it's a good point. And I will say, I'm going to give this time, right? Like, Savard is new here. And, you know, that, like, there is trauma with the fan base with the power play. And so clearly it's going to be reactionary, right? Like, they have, if they run this together for a few games, people are going to start losing their minds about the power play, and fairly so, right? Like, fairly so.
Absolutely.
But the one thing I was thinking about with them tonight is they kind of need Tavares for the draws on the first unit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's their best faceoff guy, and so you want to win the draw, so he goes out there. So it's not a nothing thing. But if you did want to move him off the power play, you're also in a year where you've stripped him of the captaincy, and he's in a contract year where you're trying to make him make a big financial sacrifice.
Okay, yes.
Like, that's a lot of things. Like, hey, man, give up the C, give up PP1 time. And also, we want you to take under $6 million a year after you've been making 11 sheets since you've been a Toronto Maple Leaf. Like,
a little bit of insult to injury there.
You know, people got much worse problems than those 3 things. But in the perspective of like a professional hockey player all-star, that's a beaucoup. Like, that's a très beaucoup to shows. So I
thought you were saying a bouquet, and I was like, that works too.
No,
it's a bouquet of slaps to the face.
It is a bit of a bouquet of slaps to the face. It's a little bit of a bouquet. Like, it's not great. And like, to do it right away would be tough. So
then leave him on the top unit.
I agree.
And then put Marner and somebody else on the bottom unit. I don't know. Put Nylander on the second unit. I don't care.
It's just so hard. That's what I mean, is like, this is one of the problems of having your, like, quote unquote core 4 or your core 5 guys, is like,
you're going to slap someone in the face.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You got to do it. But hey, if you're Berube and you want everybody to feel involved, and this is your whole thing of accountability and blah, 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 then let's see it. Like, if it doesn't work, let's see it. If it works, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't, I think that's kind of got to be one of the things that you do. Okay. Do we have anything in the chat that we want to do, or you have anything else that you want to hit on?
Yeah, I got a couple quick things.
Okay.
Habs fans are pretty horned up. I'm said horned up 3 times. Pretty excited about Lane Hudson.
Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah, he does. But like, I think he had a lot of ice time tonight because he got cut out there for 3 or 4 separate 2-minute shifts where he's caved in his own zone.
Yeah,
shifty kid, really shifty, good hands. But boy, he needs some time. He's gonna have a really good career, and he's really good. But they're gonna have some lumps with him this season. There's a lot there for sure. But there's one shift where he had the puck on his stick, and he was in the near corner, and he had it, and he was thinking about it for a second, and Willie came flying in off the bench, and just like, bang, gone off his stick, just like bodied him into the boards, and then they were hemmed in for 2 minutes, and there was like 3 awesome scoring chances on that shift.
Yeah.
Like, he's really going to be amazing, but boy, there might be some learning curves with him this season.
That's true. Like, again, he's a super young player, and he's obviously very talented. For me, the other stuff popped more than the negative, and just in terms of what he looks like in transition, and the fact that already he's a guy that when he has the puck on his stick and it's a 3-on-2, I'm like, oh no, he's going to make the right choice.
He can snap.
Like he's going to make plays that are going to drive their fans nuts too, because he's so confident with the puck in his own zone. And I actually saw it in the preseason too, where it's like, he'll kind of do little dipsy doodles, and he's going to get caught on one of those, and it's going to end up on the Sportsnet highlight reels, and people are going to be like, ooh, it's going to be on Twitter, it's going to be everywhere. But mostly I'd be pretty excited about his talent.
For sure.
Like,
absolutely.
He absolutely stands out. Same thing too for me was, I actually thought, like, this is not going to go well. I thought Marner looked really good tonight, and he had a couple of like really slick plays. There was one where it was a breakup of Suzuki that was trying to like,
talking about. Yep.
Suzuki's trying to make a play, makes a beautiful play with the stick. There was a zone entry that he had on the power play where he, kind of kept the zone and then maintained it. I thought he looked good. Like I just thought the skating was solid. I thought he was kind of buzzing around, making some crafty plays. He's got to generate more offense, obviously, but it just I felt like I was watching him a lot tonight and looked like he was playing with some confidence. I liked it.
He had it in the last minute there where he coughed it up, like it kind of like rolled off his stick and it landed on one of the Habs sticks, and the guy was about to hammer it down the ice into the empty net, and Domi came from behind and picked his pocket where it kind of saved him a little bit. But I agree, Marner looked good. Marner is really good. So he's going to look good a lot. Didn't think Domi had a great night. Thought he overpassed again, missed a wide open net off the shot from Willie. It was a shot pass, landed right on his stick in the slot, missed a wide open net. Didn't love Domi tonight. Last thing I'll say, everybody's worrying about who's going to play net for Canada at the Four Nations face-off. Buddy, they got one here now. Sam Montembeault shouting out, ending the Leafs 227 game shutout streak. Sam Montembeault, future Team Canada goalie. Can I get that started here?
I mean, if you really want, if you want that to be a thing,
no,
I don't want to
think about it. It's all I think about every night.
I would hate to have another Habs goalie be the Team Canada guy.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, like Gary Price was enough. This would be tough. Okay. So listen, chat. Blame Show. Because Show is saying that it's just trolls and people talking about some Lorenz Nollenberg a lot in the chat. He says nothing compelling. So better luck next time. Last thing. Today is your birthday. Sam McKee, happy birthday. What a boy. The boy. Didn't say you text her in the day. Oh, you thought Papa forgot? You thought Big Papa forgot? No way. That's my boy. If you want to give Sam a birthday present, you can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Sam A. McKee. Imagine doing that. Just firing the boy a follow. You can leave a 5-star review with a happy birthday, Sam. Those would be good. Those would be some good presents for everybody. I think that you would happily accept all those things.
You know what I got for my birthday today? It was a wonderful day. The Leafs starting goalie gets injured before the first game of the season. Yeah. The Leafs lose in a shutout for the first time in 3 years.
Yep.
And Easton Cowan returns to the London Knights and scores 2, I think, in a 5-4 overtime victory for the London Knights at Harry Lumley Bayshore in Owen Sound. So just a wonderful 36th birthday for your boy. Just everything coming up roses.
I gotta tell you though, Owen Sound, like, that I'm not a junior hockey guy.
Yeah.
So for it to be in my orbit that it's a tire fire there this year,
it's not gonna be great in Owen Sound. Listen, hey, we're a scrappy team. We'll be okay. We'll be trying. Okay. They try, well coached. My boy Sam McHugh drafted to the Leafs. Yeah. We'll be grinding. Connor Smith, the new captain. Big mutant on the back end. Ducks pick. Right. We'll be fine.
All right. And that's your new birthday present. Forget those follows and subscriptions and 5 stars. We let Sam talk about the attack on Leaf Stock for more than 3 seconds. Anyways, again, we're here for the entire season. It's our 3rd year. So thanks to everybody that supports it because, we wouldn't be doing it without you. We'll see you tomorrow night for the Sheldon Keefe Bowl. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Oh, Maya. She loves being cool. 21 degrees is her favorite number. God, she's the coolest, especially at night. So I raised the temp at 10 p.m. because she gets chilly when she sleeps. Maya loves using less energy, and I love Maya. We're basically besties.
With SmartFlow from Enbridge Sustain, you won't have to think about your HVAC, but it will always be thinking of you. With smart controls and zero upfront costs. Visit EnbridgeSustainSmartFlow.com to learn more.
As fall approaches and birds head south, a different kind of bird emerges, the Subaru. While migratory flocks seek warmth, Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive keeps drivers soaring through the wild. During the migrating season, Subaru's hunger for adventure grows exponentially, driving the intrigued radio listeners to fall for Subaru at their local Subaru dealerships, experiencing an adventure of their own. So migrate to your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need, when you need it, 24/7, 365, every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
You've been listening to NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM. Head over to SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, for the best hockey talk.
Finishes the period, so I think it's about 9 minutes. I walk off the bench and said, Mess, explain it to him, will you, please? He said, I will. Don't worry, I'll look after it. So as a result, we fast forward now to the playoffs in Game 6, playing New Jersey. In the Jersey series, I double shifted him. When he had to come back, and he was electrifying. Mess got the 3 goals, but Alex was a horse. And it's very talented, powerful. And the problem was he was so efficient that he could stay out. But he didn't grasp the concept of just picking up the intensity. You could see him. He could dangle and hang onto the puck, and nobody could take it from him. He was resting while he was out there. So
in essence, it was a bit of a training ground for what was to come against the Devils at the most important time.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it turned out to be a good lesson for him, because that's what he did in that game. 30 seconds, 40 seconds. I just said, Alex, I'm going to double shift you. Get ready. Don't be out too long.
That was former NHL head coach Iron Mike Keenan in conversation with Gord Stellick and Scott Laughlin for the Morning Skate on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. That's SiriusXM Channel 91.
On the court and off, your home for the NBA is SiriusXM. Follow all the drama as your favorite team vies for it all. SiriusXM NBA Radio, SiriusXM 86.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Wednesday, October the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Canadiens on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 934. Leafs on Internet 946. 7:30 p.m., Pittsburgh Penguins take on the New York Rangers. Penguins on XM 219, Internet 941. Rangers on Internet 938. 10 p.m., Vancouver Canucks face the Calgary Flames. Canucks on Sirius and XM channels 167, Internet 948. Flames on Internet 923. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers face the Winnipeg Jets. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 930. Jets on Internet 951. 10 p.m., Vegas Golden Knights face the Colorado Avalanche. Knights on XM 220, Internet 949. Avalanche on Internet 926. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Wednesday, October the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Canadiens on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 934. Leafs on Internet 946. 7:30 p.m., Pittsburgh Penguins take on the New York Rangers. Penguins on XM 219, Internet 941. Rangers on Internet 938. 10 p.m., Vancouver Canucks face the Calgary Flames. Canucks on Sirius and XM channels 167, Internet 948. Flames on Internet 923. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers face the Winnipeg Jets. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 930. Jets on Internet 951. 10 p.m., Vegas Golden Knights face the Colorado Avalanche. Knights on XM 220, Internet 949. Avalanche on Internet 926. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91.
SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 brings you expert analysis from former players, coaches, and executives, plus reaction to all the latest news on the only 24/7 station dedicated to the National Football League.
Seth Jarvis from the Carolina Hurricanes joined the morning skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91, to discuss the preseason, improving as a player season to season, and after some playoff disappointments, what it's going to take to get to the next level.
From your standpoint here in 24, what has training camp and the preseason entailed so far for you?
It's kind of felt the same as every year before. Just kind of going out there, proving to myself and my teammates what I've been doing this summer has been working, and that I've just kind of been improving each and every day. And obviously, training camp's pretty long, so I think everyone's just ready to get the season going.
So we always wonder about some players that could go back to junior as 18 years old or 19 years old, and you played as a 19-year-old in Carolina. So now, first, when you look back at it, when did you get a sense you were going to stick with the NHL roster? Did the regular season start and you still was kind of an extended training camp? How did that all play out a few years ago?
Yeah, I was. It took probably maybe a month until I kind of knew I was staying. So it was a stressful time. I was sitting in the press box kind of watching for a little while, and then finally kind of got my little shot and made the most of it. But yeah, there was probably a good solid month from when the actual season started that I had no idea where I was going to be.
So last season, 33 goals, 67 points. You take that next step up the ladder. What, and now in retrospect, was the key to you, do you think, Seth, in taking that step? You're still just 22, and like I said, there's probably another level that you can probably get to, and that's the way you feel about it. But last season was really a step in the right direction for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it just felt good. I think a lot of it just had to do with confidence. I think you hear that a lot, but it really is a big factor in just being able to go out there and trust yourself and know that you're going to make mistakes and that that's going to happen, but not let it kind of deteriorate you and affect the rest of your game. So I think just kind of the mentality I had last year of going out there, not being afraid to try stuff, not being afraid to really prove to myself that I am still an offensive player. And I think that's kind of what happened, and I'm just hoping to build off that now.
So, certainly a guy like Brendan Shanahan won Stanley Cups as a player. I remember him as a team president kind of saying to the fan base when there's playoff disappointments, he goes, I know it's not a sexy answer, but you can't panic. You just have to go back at it again and do it again and commit in that regard. So having some playoff disappointments, I mean, how do you view it about trying to get to the next level as a team in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I think just for me at least, it's just all about using it as kind of motivation, especially in times like now when camp's dragging on and you just want the season to start, just knowing what you're working for and why you're doing all those extra bag skates and all those extra workouts and stuff like that. But I mean, it's tough. It's something that you do dwell on, I think, a little bit. But when the time comes and playoffs start, everyone kind of erases that from their mind. It's a whole fresh kind of new season, and so I think for us, it's just about learning from it, especially the younger guys in our team, and then leaning on our veterans when the time comes.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Wednesday, October the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Canadiens on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 934, Leafs on Internet 946. 7:30 p.m., Pittsburgh Penguins take on the New York Rangers. Penguins on XM 219, Internet 941, Rangers on Internet 938. 10 p.m., Vancouver Canucks face the Calgary Flames. Canucks on Sirius and XM channels 167, Internet 948, Flames on Internet 923. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers face the Winnipeg Jets. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 930, Jets on Internet 951. 10 p.m., Vegas Golden Knights face the Colorado Avalanche. Knights on XM 220, Internet 949, Avalanche on Internet 926. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Wednesday, October the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens take on the Toronto Maple Leafs.